down. Hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up, I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart, I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good evening, everybody, wherever in the world you might be, and welcome to the Logitech McLaren G Challenge 2020. We are 2 quarterfinals down and have 2 to go. This week, we move to the EMEA region. Ridiculous amount of action on and off track as we determine 3 of our drivers that are going to be appearing in the regional final in just a month's time. My name is John Sargent. I'm your host for the evening, and alongside me, as always, is the wonderful, effervescent, and surprisingly neon Luke Crane. Luke, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Really excited to be here for this one specifically. This is our region, well, my region for sure, being the EU. You're split between 2 regions, so you're basically cheating with your predictions at this point.
I'm every region, mate.
But yeah, I'm really excited for this one. Should be great. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. The weather's finally gotten a little bit colder. And from a streaming perspective, it's actually rather nice not having to have the air conditioner on when the studio lights are on and all the machines are whirring, and can just actually focus on doing what we do best. More importantly, when I'm racing myself as well, I don't sweat quite as much, and it's actually more comfortable. I can get more in the zone. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's entering that time of year where things are a little bit more comfortable for me on the racetrack as well. No, it's very, very good. But this week we've got 3 different races, of course. We're going to be playing on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And it is a little bit of a winner-takes-all situation. We've got 1 qualifier from each platform, ladies and gentlemen, qualifying directly into the regional final. So not only are we going to have close racing on track, but the stakes are quite literally the highest they've been as well. And of course, the home of motorsport, at least here in the United Kingdom, it's going to be Silverstone. An absolutely iconic track. It's had its share of revisions over the years, but I think most people are quite used to the current layout that has been in place for some time. Luke, how excited are you to see the races tonight on Silverstone?
Yeah, very good point there. Only 1 driver qualifies from each region. So, and this is the most hotly contested region historically with the G Challenge. So, yeah, excited to see whether indeed we're going to see more aggressive driving here because, of course, you know, you have to be at the front end. Very, very simple. But as you mentioned, we are at Silverstone, and while it is the home of racing, whether it be just for us drivers or us people in the UK, it is just genuinely the home of racing. It's got loads of quick sections. It's got some very technical sections. It has absolutely everything, and well, hopefully it provides absolutely everything tonight.
Now, in terms of being able to overtake, opportunities for slipstreaming and getting past other drivers, how would you rate Silverstone? Obviously, the drivers themselves believe Silverstone's a fantastic driver's track, but there are tracks where it's easier to overtake. Where does this stand in that list, and how much on-track action are you expecting this evening on the whole?
Yeah, I feel like this is one of the better circuits in terms of racing. I believe that we will see moves made into turn 4. There'll be moves made down at the Wellington Straight, or the exit of the end of the Wellington Straight. Really stumbling across my words today. And then in towards Stowe. Stowe's going to be the prime opportunity to make overtakes, as it is a really wide entrance to the corner. And also the drivers will be able to run a little bit wide onto the curbs as well. So, yeah, it's just an amazing place. We've got Maggots and Beckets. We've not even touched upon that. There's not going to be any overtaking through there, but you've got to set yourself up nicely for that hanger straight through Maggots and Beckets. It's some of the fastest corners in the world of motorsport, some of the best as well. So yeah, they've got to hook it all together here today, John. You know, the time trials are finished. It's now all about the racing.
And we're getting into the first qualifying session now as well. For those of you who are less familiar with the format or are joining us for the first time this evening, first of all, welcome, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast tonight. We are going to start with a 10-minute qualifying session, where we then have a 20-minute race. And just a reminder that the race is timed rather than restricted as to the number of laps. So when that 20-minute timer reaches 0, the next time the leader passes the start-finish line, that is when the race is going to end. So that could be at the very start of a lap, or it could be just a couple of seconds after that 20 minutes elapses if the leader happens to be coming around the final corner. And we're going to have that format in all 3 of our platforms. So we've got the Xbox race first, which you guys are watching now. We then have the PlayStation race after that. And finally, the PC race, where 1 player from each of these races, the winner, will be moving on to the regional final. For now, though, we hop into qualifying with just over 8 minutes remaining on the Xbox platform.
Yeah, just over just around about a 2-minute lap here. It's quite a long circuit for these drivers today, which means they're going to get less opportunities to get their lap times in. Last week we were at Sugo, which was around about 1 minute 18, 1 minute 17. So again, less opportunities to indeed get their lap times in, so they have to be on it from the word go. No time to warm the tyres up here. You've got 1 lap, then it is go time. But let's go through a few of the drivers here then. We've got Prostig driving here today. He's in the orange McLaren, expecting big things from everybody in this lobby, to be honest with you. We've got Ratmaster, a new name to me, but to get to this stage, again, from the EU region, you've got to be very, very handy indeed. Wizardu then, an Italian driver here. He's, again, in another orange or papaya livery then. We've got then Raptor racing in the number 9 black livery there, as he does indeed start his first flying lap. We've then got Toto Cuero next up. Again, another new name for me as well, which is great to see. Really good to see that there's new names coming through. And of course, we didn't do Xbox last year, so the fact that they finally got an opportunity is huge, in my opinion. We've then got Bev Shecker next up in the number 6 there, the blue and blue, so dark blue and light blue. We've then got Chaos Theory 29, who will be in the white livery there, just as you can see with the lights on. We've then got Variable, who is there currently 8th in your list, will be racing in the number 11. We've got THR Abraham, so another Team Highlands racing driver, Abraham here, looking to indeed put another driver from the Team Highlands racing team into the regional finals. We've then got Cal Boaton. He will be racing in that silver livery, just there, as you can see, coming down the Wellington straight through a very tough complex of corners before it hit the old start finish line. Then we've got Alex 3M. I can't remember what M means in Roman numerals. I'm sure John's a lot more clever than I am. He'll be able to tell me what that means after this. But he was here as well. And then we've got Actorus, another FCT driver. So 2 FCT drivers at the bottom here. So every single driver pretty much has got themselves a 3-letter abbreviation at the front of their name, which, John, in sim racing means they're very quick, right?
Exactly right. 3 random letters automatically gives you about 7/10 of a second off your lap time on average. But you've actually just made me realize something, Luke. Up until you mentioned that there, I always assumed it was Alex M III. But now that you've mentioned that it is in fact Roman numerals, that is indeed Alex 3000. I completely missed that before.
Well, there you go. Look at this. We're doing deduction together here. Who said this wasn't an educational show?
Right. Absolutely fantastic stuff. So we've got a mixture of really quite well-known established sim racers and people we haven't seen before who are looking to make a name for themselves. And bear in mind, this isn't the first rung of the ladder either. These players have had to really focus and get their time trials really, really on point to even earn the right to be here right now. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot on the line for these drivers as well. And because of the long lap time, they don't actually have that much opportunity to get it wrong and rectify their errors as well with a just sub 2-minute lap time. Only 2 drivers under the 2-minute mark so far, but we have still got about half the session remaining.
Yeah, just around about 4 laps if they're really quick out of the pit lane. So, yeah, they will stay out. No one's going to come in and change their tyres, I very much doubt, at this point here. Abraham, though, has taken provisional pole position here by, well, now half a second, because now we have got Toto Cuero, who's moved up into 2nd position. And, yeah, like John was just saying there, this is new for Xbox to be in the G Challenge. And, well, this could be you. Next year, this could be you. So make sure that you go to logitech.com or logitechg.com and go and sign up to the newsletter. That way you're going to get all of the information of how you can get involved next year. And I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be bigger and better. This year, of course, has been a nightmare in terms of what's going on in the world right now, but next year is going to be absolutely incredible. So go get yourselves involved. Maybe you might not even know how quick you are right now, but unless you give it a go, you'll never know, ultimately. So yeah, definitely go and get signed up to the Logitech G newsletter, and all that information will be provided to you when it does indeed come out. But as it stands then, it is still Abraham who actually has changed his tyres here, so he's going to go for one more flying attempt here. And then we've got Toto Cuero just coming across the old start-finish line. Let's check it out from his cockpit view here. As we come through Cops onto the curb, grabbing loads of curb here. Can't really run too far wide out there, otherwise it will indeed be a slowdown penalty. But this is the very, very famous Maggots and Beckett's complex here. Again, you've got to set yourself up perfectly here by going as far left on entry, and then you've got to, again, maximise as much as you possibly can. And that, oh, he saved it. Fair play. That's going to have lost him a lot of time. but ultimately he has saved it. That could have been really, really bad. But again, it's all about setting yourself up for this straight here. You need to be maximizing your speed on the exit. So indeed, you're not in the race. Ultimately, you're going to be under a lot of pressure from someone behind you, but also you can attack someone in front of you unless you're in first position. If you can maximize your speed on the exit there, you're going to be in a great spot, that's for certain. Again, using the curbs as best you possibly can to help rotate the car. That's the best strategy with this car and around this circuit here. The curbs are almost as wide as the car themselves. Just a missed apex there ever so slightly. Again, you've got to set yourself up for this final couple of corners, and that is an invalidated lap time there with the cut, unfortunately. And well, that actually... Ooh, we could just about get one more lap time, and if he's out the pits very, very quickly. But it is still Abraham then who is the quickest here. A 1:59.1, which was the banker time, but drivers are starting to get quicker here. Raptor only 2.5 tenths off now, John, and it is closing up here.
I have a technical question, actually, because of that mistake in the invalidated lap time. If I remember correctly, when we have seen the Logitech McLaren G Challenge so far, when the checkered flag falls at the end of qualifying, drivers get, I think it's 90 seconds to complete the session, or at least that it was 90 seconds for the last couple of weeks. Does that mean that because the lap time is about 2 minutes, there's no way for them to get another lap in?
No, it's extended, so it'll be a little bit more. It's kind of, yeah, it works itself out basically on like an average lap time, I would imagine. But yeah, they will get the chance to finish that lap time, so don't worry about that. But yeah, you actually brought up a point there that I should probably mention. The fact that he invalidated his lap there with the final couple of corners, that means his next lap would have been invalidated as well. Hence why he's gone into the pits. So now that overrides that. He'll now do an out lap, and then he will indeed be able to embark on his final lap. But either way, you know, he would have been able to treat it like an out lap anyway. But again, now he's on fresh tyres here, so he should be able to go a little bit faster. We're on board with Raptor then up towards the final couple of corners here. And wow, is he going to be able to improve on that time? Needs to find 2.5 tenths of a second here to really put the pressure on Abraham.
You also mentioned, Luke, that we had two different... I think we've had two players now come into the pits for fresh tyres. How much do you expect fresh tyres to potentially help a lap time later in the qualifying session? Because the alternative is, yes, your tyres might be a little bit older, but you get 4 opportunities at a hot lap and you've got more consistency after setting that initial banker. So where do you draw the line in terms of risk?
At this level, they have to, really, if you want to get pole position. It's not really an option. It's not really to do with tyre degradation either. It's more to do with tyre temperatures. So once you go beyond a certain limit, you just don't have the grip anymore, and your car just slides around. And ultimately, it looks fancy sliding around, but it's not the fastest way around the circuit. So yeah, at this level, you just can't afford to, indeed, not get the fresh rubber onto the car. We're now watching Toto Cuero, who was on the front row of the grid and has lost that position. Has he regained it? No, he's not, but he has crossed the line with one more opportunity here. No one else seems to be moving or shaking right now. Alex then down in P4, and that's them done for the session. It's the first driver who is fully done here. Chaos Theory about to come across the line for the mid part of this sector. This is final lap time for him as well. So whether he'll be able to improve or not, I'm not too sure. We've then got Variable, who is just about to come across the line here, and this will be the final attempt then for Variable, as the time has now hit 0. So there you go, John. There's the answer to your question. Now we've got just over 2 minutes for them to finish their lap times. And while Variable, does he improve? No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately, no, sorry, hold on, we're on the wrong part of the circuit here. No, he's still in the middle of his lap time. Sorry, he's still in the middle of his lap time. I got completely confused there with the start-finish straights. Looks like Actorus is done. We've got Ratmaster, who's also done. We've got Bev Shaka, who's done as well. Wizardu, no, he's still going here, so still with an opportunity to get that lap time in. And while this is the final couple of corners here, and I'm very surprised that Wizardu is as far down as he is. Very, very quick within the community. But 2.5 seconds off the pace, expecting this to be very quick indeed, although, no, he hasn't. So Cal Boten has just invalidated his lap time, but Wizardu has not. Across the line he will go, and I'm sure this is going to be faster. How much faster is it going to be? Well, it's not. That is a big surprise to me. 2.5 seconds off the pace, and he really has not maximised qualification at all here. Raptor has finished then 0.4 tenths of a second off of the pace, and we've got Toto Cuero then, who's about to come around the final couple of corners here. He will be the final person to indeed finish their lap time. And his connection doesn't look too flashy right now, which is not ideal. Just drifting around the track, so that is not a good sign. Hopefully that indeed sorts itself out between qualifying and the race. But that looks very funky indeed. Across the line then we go for Toto Cuero. Does he improve? Well, he does improve, but not enough to indeed gain a position here. In behind then is Pro Stig, the last across the line, and it will not be good enough there. So John, take us through our 12 drivers. It's another THR driver though that's at the top.
Exactly right, Luke. That is the end of the qualifying session for the Xbox race. We've got THR Abraham taking pole position on Silverstone with FPR's Raptor immediately alongside him on the grid. Behind Abraham, though, is Toto Cuero, who had a couple of jitters, I have to say, with their connection. Only 0.04 of a second behind Raptor, so that proves to be a promising fight between second and third place, but maybe one of them will be able to jump Abraham on the start. We'll have to wait and see. Alex 3000 is then in fourth place with Chaos Theory immediately behind him. And then in the second half of the top 10, we've got Variable, Arcturus, Ratmaster 3, Bev Shaka, and Wizard U will round out that top 10. And as you mentioned before, Luke, Wizard, a particularly quick racer, but unfortunately on this occasion just not finding the pace to even get on the front 4 rows of the grid, so might struggle to get that all-important victory here. We'll have to wait and see what happens as we move on to the race.
Yeah, pressure. Pressure is a funny old mistress, that's for sure. We saw that last week at Sugo, and now we've seen it again here at Silverstone. But people who aren't going to be too bothered about that is Abraham, who is P1. We've then got Raptor on P2, so keep an eye then. Of course, Abraham will be in the all-red car. Raptor will be in the black and orange car in P2. And actually, Raptor will have the inside line here, so that is the favourable line, ultimately. So if, indeed, Abraham doesn't get off the line pretty well here, there might be an opportunity. As always, they have a maximum of 2 minutes to ready up here. Well, all 12 drivers here. It'd be great if they did that quite early, but there's always one that's fluffing their pillow, getting their favourite drink, having a cheeky little snack, and maybe even relieving themselves. Who knows at this stage? But Abraham on pole position. Can he make it another driver from Team Highlands Racing into the regional finals for the EU region? Just potentially 1 more minute to go, and then we're ready to rock and roll.
Beautiful backdrop there for Silverstone as well, and you can see the footbridge off in the distance, just waiting for the final drivers to ready up as we get underway. Remember, everyone, this is the Xbox race, but we've got PlayStation and PC to come as well. So plenty of entertainment this evening as we send 3 drivers through to the regional finals here in EMEA.
Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to see some red lights appear, and then it will indeed go green. There are the reds. We're about to go green here then at Silverstone for our first race of today. It's the Xbox quarterfinals of the Logitech McLaren G Challenge. And well, nearly went 3 wide there. As you can see, Abraham then trying to cover off the second position there of Raptor. And well, we've seen now Alex making a move for P2. And as he comes back onto circuit here, he will indeed have to serve a slowdown penalty. So he runs out wide through turn 1. Alex is all good though. So it was it Raptor? It might have been Raptor. No, it wasn't Raptor. It was actually Acturus then. He's the one who made the mistake there. A little bit of contact between him and Variable, which is not ideal. Looks like everyone's got through pretty nicely here. Wizard U, then the driver that I was indeed surprised about where he's qualified, has already gained 2 positions here. So a great opportunity. But let's check out the front 6. They are very, very close indeed right now. And, well, as you can see here, we've got Cal, who's made a move then up for P5. Runs a little bit wide, though, as he comes through, again, this technical middle part of this circuit. And, well, fantastic start by everybody right now. Front 6 separated by about 3 seconds. Oh, dear, we've got an off there. That is indeed Acturus. He's just got on the power too early, and unfortunately that might be his race over already here. He will have damage to the car as well, and Wizard U, again, gaining up to 6th position here. So Wizard U, a story in itself right now, but the front 3 separated by around about 1 second as they head up towards Maggots and Beckett's for the first time. Frantic start, John. We've got 3 very, very quick drivers at the front end here.
It's certainly not going to be a procession, I'll tell you that. There's so much action going on both up and down the field. 4 places already gained for Wizard U, but there's going to have to be a lot more if he wants to try and challenge for one of these positions. We're watching the front 3 right now, separated by just over a second, and plenty of slipstreaming and opportunity to overtake. Silverstone is really serving up a dose of excitement, I would say, in today's Xbox race, and hopefully all of our races are this or more as far as interesting is concerned. Really, really excited to see if we can get some moves done in the first couple of laps here, especially by Raptor in 3rd place, who looks like he is very, very eager to pounce.
Well, this is what Abraham wants. Abraham wants Raptor to close in on 2nd position here of Alex, because then they battle. We saw it last week with Fens from the Xbox, actually just drove away because of the battling in behind him. So right now Alex needs to stay with Abraham. He cannot let him go. and he doesn't want to have a battle for third position. He just wants it to be between him and indeed Abraham. As soon as Raptor gets involved, then it could spell trouble for both of them at this point. And actually, already you can see that Abraham now has taken another 0.6 of a second through the first sector here on lap number 2. And we've got a penalty then. Alex has got himself a penalty, and that is 1 second. So not a good start here, and that's where he's lost his time. He's tried to indeed get rid of the slowdown penalty, and ultimately it's not worked. So he slowed down and received a penalty. So needs to be a little bit more careful. It's just not good. Not a good start here. Now they've got to be hoping for a mistake from Abraham. But Abraham looks so quick in qualifying, and he looks so quick right now. So it's all right now for the THR driver to lose.
That penalty certainly helping him quite a lot. It means that there's going to be a little bit of a more chilled out gap behind them. Alex 3000 is going to be very frustrated with that, but the goal at the end of the day is to try and close the gap as much as possible. There's an opportunity to make up the time if you can make up the distance on track. But early on, I feel like Abraham not only has played his cards right, but maybe is getting a little bit fortunate that the cars behind him now have other things to worry about other than just focusing on catching him on track.
Yeah, absolutely. It genuinely has become a 3-horse race very early in this race, as we've come to expect really from the Xbox side of things over the last few weeks. For Raptor right now, he has to make this move. He has to get this done as soon as possible because he can see Abraham is off into the distance. So there's no second place chances, no third place chances. It's all or nothing right now. And Abraham is going to be absolutely loving his life right now. Raptor then has forced a defensive move there from Alex to come up towards the final couple of corners here. They are side by side. Alex holds a very tight line and indeed holds on to that position. Raptor then has to just get off the gas there, nearly runs into the back of Alex in second position. But again, this is just giving Abraham more opportunity to drive away. So yeah, not ideal here. We're on to lap number 3. And as you can see in the background, there's a nice little battle here, battling for P4. But again, if they go side by side, it's just going to cost them time to the leaders. And Abraham, by the way, is the only driver in the 59s there on lap number 2. He's done a 59.7. An incredible time that is, by the way. But Raptor now up into second position. So Alex has lost out here. And oh dear, looks like he's hit something, because that is definitely not what the car looked like at the start of this race. And wow, the unlucky number 13 proving to be very unlucky right now. But now it's all about what sort of pace with clear air does Raptor have.
Raptor managing to get past with a sub 2-minute 01 as well, so I'm sure that fighting would have cost him a little bit of time, but it's a minimal loss compared to Abraham, and now the question has to become, can he pull into the 159s as well? Oh, a massive shunt there! Variable going around the outside. It looked like both drivers, Luke, you can tell me if you think so as well, it looked like the drivers left each other enough room, but he just swerved into the side, unfortunately. Maybe a little bit of understeer mid-corner, and Variable goes flying.
Cal was exiting that corner like no one was on his outside, and ironically, he's the one who got what he deserved there, really, to be honest. He ran out wide, and luckily, Variable wasn't spun around there. It's a very sort of tough situation to be involved in and actually survive. So fair play to Variable. He's off now to maybe try and chase down the leaders, but again, he needs to find 8 seconds now with 14 minutes to go. So there is plenty of time for that to happen, but it's going to be very difficult. Raptor, by the way, is closing in here ever so slightly. So, again, you said he was about a second slower than Abraham on the previous lap, but ultimately he had traffic to contend with. He was battling 4P2 with Alex, but right now it's come down to 2.5 seconds. So, again, 0.2 of a second here. And I think we might be potentially seeing a battle unfold here. Again, he's got to get it done pretty quickly. Again, 0.2 of a second over the next, what it would actually take 10... Well, it'd take about 12 laps here, so he wouldn't have enough time. So he needs to start finding maybe half a second a lap here. But as they go across the line, Abraham was actually still quicker. But remember, he had to get the overtake done on the first sector of the last lap, so he would have lost time there. So for me right now, I think Raptor's the fastest man on circuit. It's just all about whether he can hook it up together, lap in, lap out, close that gap. And, you know, Abraham's going to see the delta. We spoke about this before, John, where Abraham will start to see the time coming down, and that's where he's going to be forced into mistakes. He's going to start pushing again. Right now, he doesn't need to push, but as soon as he starts seeing that time come down, then, you know, that's when nerves come in. And again, it is winner takes all, so he will get really nervous.
I think that's a very important element of the race to consider, because if Raptor starts putting in some hot laps now, it's all about the psychology of Abraham out in front. If Abraham attempts a slower lap, or shall we say a safer lap, where they're not taking quite as many risks, that's fine. But if that lap is slower than Raptor really putting the pedal to the metal, then that might force Abraham into a mistake. Last week and the week before, the drivers that ran away with it, they're the ones that even when they took their foot off the pedal very slightly, they were still consistently 2 or 3 tenths faster than the drivers behind them. So that's now the limit that Abraham needs to test. If Abraham's able to take it, not take it easy, but maybe just take the turbo off a little bit and conserve that last 10%, take fewer risks, and still put in a 10th or 2 per lap faster than Raptor, he's going to feel very comfortable. I think this lap is going to tell us all we need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more there. We've just actually seen Alex letting variable go. I think he realises his race is over with the damage he's got on that car. And fair play was flashing his lights to let him go, and that's great. Again, something we've seen quite often, John, across this championship so far, is people and their sportsmanship. It's been done in very good spirits, which is exactly what you want to see. But people who are not going to be too worried about doing this in good spirits are the leaders. And, well, Abraham was being caught by Raptor ever so slightly, but again, we're going to find out as they come across the line as to whether indeed that is still the case here. Again, Abraham is just dropping time ever so slightly, but the tyre temperatures will be going through the roof at this point. Across the line in 2 minutes, 0.2, and Raptor is just about a 10th of a second slower. So pretty much matching Abraham right now, but Abraham has got that hard work done already in the first phase of this race.
This is shaping up to be quite interesting because Abraham is still faster, but I would argue not fast enough to be super comfortable, which means that Raptor is still very much in with the shout, and if Abraham even so much as goes wide on a corner, for example, you could easily lose 2 seconds a lap, as we saw Alex 3000 do earlier, and that's not even taking into account something like hitting too much of a curb and going into a spin, for example. So it's still very much one mistake away, and therefore Abraham does have to be careful, but at least he doesn't have to multitask by looking in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, it's going to be a bit of a slog out there, but ultimately just get the result, move on, and then you're done for the day. Wizardu, again, up from P10 on the grid to P5, so definitely a shout for driver of the day for me. And also, this is an opportunity for a lot of young drivers who may never have been in this sort of environment before in terms of an esports competition with nothing really on the line. They've raced in community leagues and stuff, and that's all great, and, you know, lots of drivers take it very, very seriously. But ultimately, there's nothing really on the line in terms of potential prizes and stuff like that. Representing, you know, you're representing Logitech as a brand and McLaren as a brand the further you go through this competition. So there's so much on the line, but they can lean on this experience moving forward. So it's not all about today. It's what you can learn from today. It's like Wizardu, it's almost impossible that he's going to be able to qualify now. With 10 minutes to go, 19 seconds back. The front two are looking, you know, bulletproof at this point. So, you know, even if one of them makes a mistake, the other one's pretty much going to pick up the pieces. But it's about leaning on that experience moving forward. This is the first year we've used Xbox as well. So, you know, next year, lean on this, and potentially we could see someone like Wizardu, who's a very young man, very, very talented, potentially reach his potential. Using the word potential so often here. But again, it's for people at home as well. There is an opportunity here in the Logitech McLaren G Challenge. Make sure that you do indeed go and get the relevant information. Go to logitechg.com, sign up for the newsletter, because next year is going to be incredible. More opportunities available for people. And again, it's free to enter. You know, what have you got to lose? Maybe you think, oh, I'm not quite as quick as these drivers. Well, until you put a few hours in and really put your mind to something, have an objective to go for, you never know. Trust me. You know, some of the drivers you're going to see potentially win this championship 12 months ago, 24 months ago, they were maybe in the bottom 40% of the sim racing world, but they've put their mind to it, and we're seeing new talent coming through. So there's an opportunity for a lot of drivers here. And, well, talking of opportunity, Abraham now 6 seconds in the lead. So Raptor has not had the best of their laps there, unfortunately, on the previous one. And actually, he had matched Abraham there. So he had done 2:03 twice in a row, had Raptor, and really was trying to pile that pressure on. But right now, with 8 minutes, 50 seconds to go, Abraham is looking very, very good. And, well, Team Highlands Racing with Operator already in the North America finals. They are looking very strong in the Logitech McLaren G Challenge.
Raptor pushing as hard as he can to try and get some lap times a little bit faster than Abraham, but unfortunately making a mistake as he did so. We were saying that even just running wide in a corner could cost you a couple of seconds. Unfortunately, for the lead of the race at least, it means that Raptor has now dropped a couple of seconds to Abraham as opposed to the other way around, so we're not going to see wheel-to-wheel fighting for the lead of the race at the moment. But you're quite right, Luke. The opportunity is definitely there for these drivers. Take Wizardu, for example. Arguably a driver of the day worthy performance from him there, especially if he continues and maybe can even catch up to something like 4th place, which would be amazing from 10th on the grid. And while he wouldn't progress from this qualifier, that would be really, really good for him and boding well going into, for example, one of the wildcard tournaments. So Wizardu has a lot of positives to take from this race, as do a couple more notable drivers, even though right now in 1st place, it's all about Abraham.
Yeah, I think we will see a few of these drivers, like you said, there come through the wildcards. I'd be very surprised if we didn't. And I'm just wondering whether some nerves have affected Wizardu here, because I've seen him racing previously, and he is one of the very fastest on Xbox around the world, let alone just in this region. So yeah, I think maybe some nerves have got to him here. First major esports event that he's been involved in, but yeah, the future's bright for him. But now he's being caught here by Cal. So Cal looking to potentially, well, he's just listed Apex there through turn 1, unfortunately. But again, he is closing in on a top 5 here. And again, as a racing driver, obviously with this being a winner takes all format today, winning is everything. But if you can't win, you want to get a podium. And if you can't get a podium, you want to reach that top 5. And this is the battle for the top 5 then. So Cal Bowton versus Wizardu. And Wizardu just losing ever so slightly a bit of time there. Again, you need to be cutting that curb there to maximise your speed on this straight. It's this straight here, the Wellington straight and the Hangar straight. You need to be absolutely nailing the exit of the corner onto those straights. That's where you lose the most time. And Wizardu there missing the apex once again. So the Cal is piling on the pressure here. And we're seeing mistake after mistake, but not only from Wizardu, actually it's Cal as well, who really is genuinely pushing hard here.
Both drivers making mistakes on that last lap. Wizardu in the 204s and Cal in the 203s. So quite clearly one driver making a mistake and the other possibly following them straight through. But Cal's still able to gain approximately a second. Wizardu has shown us that his racecraft is fantastic, to be perfectly honest, as we saw Cal have another wobble. Because he had to battle up to 5th place, starting 10th on the grid. So there can be no question about the experience and the racing pedigree that Wizardu has, but even the best drivers in the world are prone to mistakes. The question is what they do to recover. So all eyes on the next lap and whether Wizardu can recover to start to gap Cal once again.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Cal's driving style there, and it says to me that he's got a lot of experience in hot lapping. We've been speaking about this over the last few weeks within the quarterfinals. And yeah, like hot lappers, they don't tend to know more than one line around a circuit. Of course, there's really only one line around every circuit to maximize to get that perfect lap. So indeed, when you get behind another car and you've got dirty air, you maybe start to struggle here. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if with a bit more experience from Cal, if we don't see him in the future as well. Looks like he's got some serious pace. It's all about hooking it up in the races. But he is closing up on Wizardu here, so we might see a little bit of a ding-dong with 5 minutes to go for this potential P5. Again, it looks pretty wrapped up there between Abraham and Raptor at the front, unless Abraham makes a mistake. But again, this is where you earn your dough right now, John. The last 5 minutes of the race, a mistake here, you've got to try and ward off that pressure from yourself at this point, especially when you've got a 6-second advantage. It's all about, playing against your own mind.
It really is playing against your own mind, especially if you end up pushing. If you think 6 seconds isn't enough, I need to get to 10, that is where someone who's really, really quick and really consistent can sometimes be made to make mistakes. Everyone obviously has a winning mentality when it comes to the top tier of racing, but part of a winning mentality, and I think some racing drivers more than others exhibit this, is understanding when enough is enough and when actually, you know what, I've got comfortable, firm control of this race. How many times in any racing series have we seen, for example, a driver in first place also go, you know what, I want fastest lap as well, and then disaster strikes in the last 3 laps. It's something that we see in racing. So it's about being able to temper yourself when you know you're in a good position. And fastest lap gets you no points here. It's about bringing the car home in first place, and that's exactly what Abraham is going to aim to do.
Yeah, it does look like that's going to be the case here as we watch Cal come through Maggotts and Beckett's here again, closing in on Wizardu. So they are indeed lapping the same sort of lap times, lap for lap. I just gave some wrong information, ladies and gentlemen. It is LogitechGChallenge.com for you guys to indeed go and get the information for next year. So make sure that you do indeed go and sign up for that newsletter, and that is LogitechGChallenge.com. So my apologies there. My brain doesn't work as fast as someone like John who's next to me. He knows everything.
Oh god, well that's a lot of pressure going into the next 2 races. Gee, I'm gonna have to start predicting top 10s and stuff. Oh goodness, don't do that to me, Luke. No, you're doing a fine job from where you are, mate. And the action on track, thankfully, has someone like you to present it to the general public, which is fantastic. And I'm really pleased, by the way, to see that even though first and second place are all but wrapped up at this point, look at this battle continuing to unfold. Cal does not know when to stop. I am loving this race. Oh god. Well, I almost feel like I cast a curse. That is an excellent battle, but Cal may be a little bit too eager and thus late on the brakes, going right up the tailpipe there, unfortunately, on that particular time.
Yeah, congratulations to Cal and Wizardu, who will be expecting a baby McLaren in around about 9 months' time. Although, as we come down the Wellington Straight there, they are side by side, and Cal now is going to try and make that opportunity, and well, he runs out wide here. And again, maybe just seeing that he's a bit of a hot lap specialist. Wizardu will take this opportunity back here. I'm not trying to say he's going to retaliate, but yeah, that wasn't the cleanest of overtakes there from Cal, that's for sure. So the top 5 now currently is Cal. But now Wizardu's got to try indeed use the slipstream now, try and get underneath that rear wing and try and force a mistake here. But as it stands, Abraham still leads, Raptor second. We've got Variable is in third then. Alex, who's got some serious damage, by the way, still holding on to P4, although he is lapping slower than... He's actually second slowest on circuit right now, so that damage has been huge. But ultimately, he did loads of the hard work earlier on, so to get himself into P4. But again, this is the battle on circuit right now. This is what we want to be watching. And it is indeed between Wizardu and Cal. Wizardu is very, very close indeed. As they come then onto the hangar straight up towards Stowe. There's an opportunity knocks here. Wizardu not really in the slipstream there. Just stepped out ever so slightly. Needs to be right underneath as close as he possibly can. Up towards Stowe they come, and Cal takes a very defensive line here. So on the exit, he might be a little bit compromised. And can Wizardu take full advantage? As they do indeed now head onto... Are we going to be on the final lap? Where is Abraham? So Abraham crossed the line already. Surely here. No, we are... I don't know. I don't think we'll have one more lap to go, actually, after this. As we look then on from Wizardu. So he then is just in behind still. Not really close enough to make an opportunity here. And he'll be seething, because that wasn't a fair way of making an overtake there by Cal. That's for sure. Again, I'm not going to treat the audience like they're stupid. That wasn't fun to watch at all. And I think as Abraham, it's going to be close here with 57 seconds to go. This could potentially be the final lap of this race. So let's give Abraham a little bit of camera time then as he comes up towards Maggots and Beckett's, which again potentially could be the final time. It's going to be very close as he crosses the line. But what a performance it's been here. Qualified pole, he set the best time in qualifying on his first attempt. He actually did indeed improve just a little bit by a couple of hundredths, but his banker time would have been good enough for pole position. So he's just been on a bit of a different level here as he comes then on towards then the final back straight. Well, are we going to see any showboat and any weaving? I don't think we will. It is the quarterfinals here after all. It's just about getting the job done. Up towards Stowe then. And he's just going to take a nice wide entry here. Just wants to make sure. I very much doubt he's going to take any curb whatsoever. Doesn't want to be indeed losing the car here. And well, with only, 5 seconds to go, this will be the final lap of today's race then. A couple of corners to go. And THR Abraham has been absolutely bulletproof here today, and he will be our first winner from today, and he will, representing THR, be into the regional finals here of the Logitech McLaren G Challenge. Nice work there by Abraham. It will be Raptor who finishes in second. It looked like he might have the pace to indeed, well, he was actually faster on the final lap there to put a bit of pressure on, but unfortunately his battle with Alex may have cost him here. Variable will come across the line in third spot then. We've then got Alex 3000, as you've well pointed out there, with a load of damage on his car, but fair play to him. You can see that he's struggling with turning, that's for sure. But let's go on board with this Wizardu versus Cal, and will Wizardu be able to take this spot at the death? Does not look like he's quite close enough here, so Cal will be able to hold on. But what a race, John. THR Abraham, very deserved winner.
Absolutely. Really good race, and a couple of standout performances as well. Variable, especially after being involved in that shunt earlier in the race, still able to take a podium position. And of course, Wizardu with that incredible battle with Cal. But don't forget, Wizardu started the race in 10th place as well. So all sorts of fun up and down the field, but realistically, Abraham was in a class of his own and is a very, very deserved winner going through to the EMEA Regional Final. So congratulations to everyone in this race. There will be other opportunities, of course, to people who didn't qualify to continue to push their way through, and they'll be able to do that through the wildcards. But for this race specifically, one driver is going to go through, and I do believe that is Abraham. We've then got, of course, 2 more races coming up after this. We have the PlayStation and PC. But these guys have really given us some solid entertainment to start the night.
Yeah, very good race there. Abraham, of course, kind of on his own, to be completely honest, which is, his right. He qualified pole, got out, didn't want to get involved in any of the mischief that was happening behind him. And, yeah, good job there. Raptor, I've got to feel sorry for him. I feel like he had a little bit more pace than Alex. It took him a couple of laps to get past Alex. And unfortunately, that might have been his downfall. But even when he was behind him, the pressure that Abraham was putting on in terms of the lap times, just every single lap, just drilling in the 2-minute zeros, a couple of 159s in there. Yeah, very deserved winner. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how well he does moving forward in this competition.
I would have loved to see Raptor put a couple more quick lap times in, and maybe we could have seen Abraham being the one to make the tiniest mistake, and we might have gotten a little bit of wheel-to-wheel racing for the win. But that's what happens when two drivers are pushing each other. They weren't together on track, and Raptor was the one who buckled first. And I say buckled, that's really harsh. He made a very minor mistake, and it only dropped him back a little bit. Second place was very, very well and truly secure by that point, so hopefully we will get to see these guys in more wheel-to-wheel action in the future. For now, though, Abraham has provisionally qualified, steward inquiries pending, to the regional finals, and we've got the PlayStation and PC races next to come. You're watching the Logitech McLaren G Challenge. This is the EMEA quarterfinals. We'll see you soon for the PS race. welcome back to the Logitech McLaren G Challenge 2020. The Xbox race is in the history books now, and we've got 2 races left to go, starting with the PlayStation lobby. Now, Luke, the first race, okay, we had fewer drivers than we did, but at the end of the day, we actually had quite an incident-packed race. There were drivers, unfortunately, hitting the back of each other, but also some really nice wheel-to-wheel racing where people were trying to go around the outside in places like Stowe, which I think is ambitious on a good day, to be honest. And we had 3 or 4 different incidents in that race. Are we likely to see more of that heading into PlayStation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're heading to a little bit more of an unknown here with PlayStation, because a lot of the top PlayStation drivers have migrated to PC over the last 12 months. So there's lots of new names. I think it's going to be really, really exciting. But as we were talking about percentages last week, there's less percentage chance of going through because there's 16 drivers, 1 spot. So it's, yeah, not ideal, but I'm sure we're going to see the very best from these drivers today.
Now, we happened to see in the Xbox race, Abraham... Well, to be fair, he was pursued by Raptor for a bit, but eventually in the second half of the race, really running away with it. And let's not gloss over it. He got there by being on pole position. Is being on pole just going to be 100% the way to go? What do you think is the likelihood that someone who doesn't start on pole might win this next race? Can it be done?
It definitely can be done. You just got to look at Wizardu as a little bit of inspiration. So he went from P10, ultimately finished in P6, but he got as high as P5. So you've got to use that as a bit of inspiration. And I'm sure all of these drivers would definitely have been watching the first race. It is a circuit that does promote overtaking. But of course, you know, pole position does normally bring the prizes. So, yeah, everyone will want to be on pole position. But it's not over, you know, just pole position, they're going to win. It's just not really how it works. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this works out.
And now that we've got, well, potentially 16 drivers in, of course, later on we're going to have the PC race, which will have even more drivers. But in each of our races today, only a single driver is going to qualify through directly to the regional quarterfinals. The drivers will have an alternate opportunity, of course, through the wildcard tournaments, but it is just 3 people we are sending through to the EMEA finals today. And as you can see here, we are back on Silverstone, which will be the venue for all 3 of our races. It's provided some very exciting races, some very exciting racing, I should say, in the Xbox race. And now we look to see how it translates over onto the PlayStation platform. Qualifying will get underway in just a bit, just a shade under 6 kilometers or just a shade over 3.5 miles, depending on your units of choice. And really not a lot of room for error, Luke, because unlike last week, it's a relatively long lap time. So you don't want to, like one of our drivers did, invalidate both your current and next lap and effectively have to start again.
Yeah, exactly that. There's 2 very technical parts of this circuit. We're actually watching as the driver comes through here. Maggots and Beckett's. This is one of the I guess it's really technical, but it's fast. It's really fast and furious there. So you have to make sure that you're maximizing your speed through there. So your entry through there is absolutely key. If you make a mistake on entry, you're then going to mess 4 corners up, which is going to lose you between 1 to 2 seconds, like easily. Whether you're the best driver in the world or not, you're not recovering if you make a mistake on entry through that corner phase here. But as indeed we come up towards the final part of the circuit, this is the most technical, the toughest part. Although we are now going to look at the Silverstone building here, which is beautiful. I've been there. I love it. Absolutely love it.
There's a very interesting cutaway of the track there, back onto Maggots and Beckett's. But yeah, it's like you say, it's very, very technical in terms of getting the right line, does Silverstone. Although it does another wonderful thing that not many racetracks do a good job of, Luke, which is even though the correct fastest line is very, very technical, there are still multiple racing lines through a lot of these corners, which enables a lot of that side-by-side racing, those crazy moves around the outside that we might occasionally see, and otherwise around this track. It's so much fun for drivers to try and sneak their way by using a different line around a driver, or, well, basically around any of these corners here. And I don't actually think there are that many corners where someone hasn't tried a lunge at some point based off of all of the racing that we've seen in Silverstone. So I'm hoping we get some really good on-track action in the second half of the day.
Yeah, pretty much guaranteed for sure. We've also got the PC race coming up as well, which is 23 drivers, I believe. So that's going to be absolutely nuts, and only 1 driver going through there as well. So yeah, we're heading into the lobby right now. We're ready to rock and roll here for our second race in PlayStation 4. Again, 10 minutes qualification into a 20-minute race. Lots of new names. There is one name that I will go on board with straight away, and he's a bit of an OG of the Project Cars scene. Back from Project Cars 1, back when we had the ESL Go 4 Cups every single Sunday, is a driver called TX3 Joker. So yeah, looking forward to seeing indeed what he can produce today. And actually, I'm going to go as far to say here that he might be one of the favourites to go through. So John, qualifying is about to begin. What a time to be alive.
10-minute qualifying session begins now, ladies and gentlemen. We are on board with the driver that we were just talking about, TX3 Joker. Can we see a little bit of a magic in their hot laps as we vie to get pole position on Silverstone? This is the PlayStation race, of course. If you're just tuning in, the Xbox race has already been completed, where Abraham is soundly through to the regional final, and we've got the PC race coming up after this. But for the drivers in this server, as far as they're concerned right now, the next 9.5 minutes are everything. All eyes are on the battle for pole position, and thus giving yourself the maximum opportunity to come home with the race win here. And this week, the race win means everything, because we're only sending the race winner through automatically to the regional final.
Do you know what my favourite thing about sim races is? It's when they put the same 3 letters as their teammates as their abbreviation for our timing tower. So we've got Lig P1, Lig P2, and down in P14, yes, you've guessed it, Lig. So we've got Jockey, who's one of those drivers. We've then got Dumol, who is one of those drivers. And we've got Brasco, Donny Brasco, racing here live. Unbelievable. What a time to be alive again. We've then got Bruce AFC that'll be racing. I'm assuming he's an Arsenal fan, and I like that. I'm a huge fan. I've got no favourites in this, but I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Bruce go through to the regional finals, okay? I'm just going to throw it out there. We've then got Tinas in the house. Love that name. That's one of my favourite names, actually. That's really tickled me, actually, to be fair. We've then got TX3 Joker, an OG of the Project Cars scene. Again, multiple ESL Go 4 Cup wins. And if you want to know how important the ESL Go 4 Cups were, drivers such as James Baldwin now, who's racing in the British GT for Jensen Button's team, that was a prominent part of his development in sim racing. So yeah, that was a huge competition back in the day. And actually, that was when I used to compete and be in those finals as well. Those good days, really good days. We then got PCS Shandell. Don't know too much about them in terms of racing ability. All I know is they love a message on Discord. That's for sure, because the G Challenge Discord has been blown up by Shandell. And, well, hopefully they're not going to be overexcited for this race, but they've definitely been looking forward to it. Oh, there's a cone being smashed off there. That's not good. Jazzman, he is very quick driver. Looking forward to seeing how well he performs here today. And just a little fact for you, that there's actually 77,709,875 other Jazzmans on the PlayStation Network, hence the name. We've then got Cam123 Diz. Hopefully he's not going to be dizzy by spinning today. So another new name for me. We've then got the Crusher Bro, who again will be one of the favourites for this for sure. He's been very strong on the PlayStation Project Cars 2 side. And this is his first chance of him being old enough to be in these competitions. So definitely watch out for him. He's been fast for a long time. But it's, again, the first opportunity for him to showcase those skills. We've then got Team Fordzilla driver Sylvain. He's going as Team Fordzilla Sylv. So yeah, to race for a team such as that team, you know, you've got to be pretty handy. We've then got Loctite. Love that. I used to use a lot of Loctite on my first ever job. I used to actually break locks when I was not illegally, as a job, guys. I didn't just go around breaking people's locks. So Loctite was a big part of my job. We've then got Pedro Marquez, who again is one of the OGs of the Project Cars 2 scene. So looking forward to seeing how well he does today. We've got Dive Mask 95. And I'm hoping that that's not the year he was born in 1995, because anyone born after the 89, oh, it makes me sick. And then we've got Jockey, one of the Lig drivers here, one of the 3. And you can guarantee now that these are going to qualify 1, 2, 3 and make our lives as difficult as possible here, John.
It's entirely possible. This is going to be very entertaining if we see the Lig cars line up along each other on the grid. But it sounds like, Luke, that we have a reasonable number of established names here, all fighting for a single position. So it's really anybody's guess who ends up being on the front row. It doesn't sound like you've picked out 1 or 2 specific favorites, and this could really go any one of 3 or 4 different ways.
Well, there's the first time then the Crusher Bro puts in a 59.8, so around about 8/10 slower than what we saw on Xbox, but again, it's only a bank of time. And what my biggest surprise here, John, is that drivers such as TX3 Joker, who's been around for so long, why has his team not hooked him up with a PC? That's normally what happens. Your team hooks you up with a PC and then you go and compete you know, I'm not saying that Xbox and PlayStation 4 are lesser than PC drivers, but ultimately there's more competitions when it comes to PC, and he just hasn't been hooked up by the looks of things. He's still on PlayStation 4, or maybe he just genuinely prefers that. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how well he does. We've then got Cam Diz in second position, and actually a 59.0 then for Pedro Marquez. Oh, hello.
Wow.
That's the fastest time off today. And that is a very quick time indeed. Cam Diz then second, and he's straight into the pits, getting a fresh set of rubber here. The Crusher Bro now 0.8 of a second off pace. He's now getting a fresh set of rubber. Tynus in the house. He's currently P4, 1 second off of the pace. Joker then, who will definitely have put a banker time in there. It won't have been him full tilt. So again, this will be really where he shows his representative of his pace. Actually quite surprised to see Sylvain down as far as he is, but I'm sure he will improve indeed as the session goes on. But again, I think the biggest surprise for me right now is Tinnis in the house and Cam Diz. Those drivers right up the sharp end here, and two drivers I didn't expect to be at the sharp end. So yeah, these are free agents as well. So teams looking right now, a couple of drivers here to pick up for sure.
Second to 8th, separated by 0.6 of a second as things currently stand, with Pedro setting that ridiculous blistering lap almost into the 158s. Not quite, but we might well get there before this session is over. There's still 4 minutes left in this qualifying session, ladies and gentlemen, so 2 laps remaining for the cars that are on track now, and if they're currently in the pits, they might just be able to squeeze out a hot lap, but that is going to be it. And as far as banker times are concerned, Pedro's done a tremendous job, but then we have drivers like Joker behind where we expect them to get into the 1 minute 59s as well. Still all to play for, but time is beginning to run out.
It is beginning to run out then. Tynus in the house has just been displaced here because Jazzman has moved up into P3, and I'm sure with that time he would be doing jazz hands. That's a very good time indeed, 59.8. I don't know why, but I legitimately put my controller down then to do jazz hands. Crazy. Luckily we're not on camera. Joker then about to cross the line. Yes, here we go. So is this going to be his flying attempt here? Will this be quicker? Joker goes across the line, and it's not an improvement then. So Joker under a little bit of pressure here, and well, when you get a time posted such as a 1:59.002, that puts the whole field under pressure. And that is a banker time. That's his first attempt here, John. That is lightning fast.
Pedro Marquez really, I don't know, he must have a better gaming chair than everyone else or something, because that is stupendous. Being 0.8 up on the entire rest of the field is something that perhaps we didn't expect going into this qualifying session. There is still time, of course, for people to improve, but like you say, the pressure's got to be on for people like Joker, where, yes, of course, I've got a banker time on the board at the moment, but that banker time is 1.3 seconds behind. I mean, that is absolutely massive. That's like almost running wide and making a big mistake going onto the grass kind of territory. So really need to find every square inch of tarmac they can to see if they can pull back a bit of time on Pedro and try and steal pole position from under his nose. To do that, though, they basically have to get into the 158. So the bar has been set very high.
I'm just looking at Pedro Marquez's demeanor here. He looks so smooth, so in control here. You see a lot of other drivers, they're on the absolute limit of the car. So you see in the car's rear step out a hell of a lot there, and they just don't look controlled, calm, and composed. But Pedro Marquez just looks just so in control of the car right now. And again, look at him set himself up here for Magus and Beckett. And well, I say get the car sideways. That is intentional there more than anything, as we do indeed head then back onto the hangar straight for up towards Stowe. Runs a little bit wide there, just about gets away with it, and you see he's closing up to the car behind here, so we might be able to gain a couple of tenths. And will we see our first 58? That's the question. I guarantee you we're going to see 58s on PC, and I think we're going to see multiple 58s on PC, but are we going to see our first 58 on PlayStation 4 here this evening? Up towards then the final couple of corners, and he will get one more lap time in as well here, so he's got a fresh set of rubber on. He's going to have another banker time posted in, and now he can go balls to the wall for the final attempt here. Joker up to second. So yeah, going to be interesting to see how well he does in terms of the race. And actually, no, Cam's just gone into second as well. So the times are tumbling here. Pedro across the line does not improve. So, Cam's done. Qualifying over for Cam then with that spin. Very unfortunate here. Joker's got another opportunity, but they are starting to get closer here, John, but it's still 7.5 tenths. Pedro Marquez is on a different planet right now.
I was taking a look at the steering wheel and what the delta time was between the lap that Pedro Marquez just set and the one that's on the timing board, and I believe he was less than half a tenth away at the line as well. So Pedro is trying to break into the 158 barrier, and they will have one more opportunity to do that. But Joker now is very much on a charge. So back up the timing boards with a 159.7, just 1/10 behind Cam right now. And there is a possibility of him leapfrogging into second position, or if we see something sensational, potentially contesting for pole.
It's not in his hands, though. If the driver in front makes a mistake or he's not as quick, it will be qualifying over, and he's just closing up too quickly here. I don't think that he's going to be able to get a faster lap time in. He's going to be held up here. There you go, he's held up. And unfortunately, that's going to cost him, I think. Unless he can get right underneath that rear wing and use it as slipstream, I don't think it's quite going to work out here. So Joker looking for that pole position. And yeah, the driver in front is on a fast lap here. So Joker pulls over to one side. That is qualifying over for him. He's on the second row of the grid. He is someone, if there is someone who can get from third and win this race, he is one of those drivers. Very, very high pedigree. I'm telling you that now. Shandell, very, very good time here. But actually, look at this, John. 0.03 of a second, separating second to fourth. So Shandell right now finds that 0.03 of a second, front row of the grid.
Fingers crossed, we'll wait and see. It's 0.2 of a second from second down to seventh. It's absolutely ridiculous stuff right now, and this grid is very, very tight indeed. Shandell looking to try and improve on the time. Just a small improvement would actually land them on the front of the grid.
Invalidated.
Oh, no.
Ran far too wide. Yeah.
And that's what happens when you push just a tiny bit too hard.
Yeah, very unfortunate there. And again, it's qualifying, so you have to leave everything out there on the table. Dive Mask, by the way, is about to, I believe, improve on his time. Across the line then. No, doesn't. So ran a little bit wide as well there on the exit of the final corner. And whoa, who just went up there? Shandell P4, was it Tynus? So, yeah, Tynus into house, moves up into the third row of the grid. And it's 0.8 of a second. But you're right, John. Look at how close it is from second down to third. It is 0.2 of a second. But Pedro is the star of the show here. A 59.002 for Pedro Marquez. And, well, he is definitely favourite now to make it to the regional finals.
30 seconds left for our drivers to complete their hot laps, but it looks like the board is finalized now. Pedro Marquez on pole position with a sensational 1 minute 59.002. And lining up alongside him on the front of the grid, we've got Cam Diz. In third, we have Joker. Now, don't forget, Joker, lots of racing pedigree, so we're not looking for those one-lap, hot lap specialists. Joker has the pedigree and the experience to potentially overtake around the inside or outside at the first, basically during this first lap of the race. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Joker can make up a position there. Shandell slots into P4 after a tremendous final lap. And then we have Tynus immediately behind them. Jazzman is in sixth position, ahead of the Crusher Bro, who I can only imagine was big into pro wrestling prior to making the switch into sim racing. The final three cars in the top 10 are Sylvain, Dive Mask, and Bruce AFC.
Come on, Bruce. Right, anyway, let's get into the racing here. Then it's just because he's an Arsenal fan, guys, all right? Nothing more than that. But it is time for the racing action here. Hopefully the drivers do indeed ready up nice and quickly for us. That'd be great. But Pedro Marquez, 27, is on pole position. Will he take a leaf out of Abraham's book from the Xbox race earlier today and, well, run out ahead there, take all of the opportunities and run away? It's perfect for him right now because, like we said, between second and ninth, there's only 0.2 of a second. So they're going to be very, very close indeed, and it's going to be a scrap, an almighty scrap, that is for sure, in the midfield battle here. So if he can get away, he's going to be in a good spot. But it's all about making sure that you lay that power down perfectly, get all four wheels rotating without wheel spinning, and getting away into turn one in the lead. But again, Cam with an opportunity here. If Cam can get off the line quickly, then he might be able to, with the inside line, squeeze Pedro and potentially make that move. But the big danger here for me, for both of those at the front there, is TX3 Joker. He has been here umpteen times. He has got the most experience in this lobby of big, big races. And, well, he tends to deliver when the pressure is on. The pressure is on right now. He is in that top three. So excited to see how well he does. Shandell has done a lot of talking. Now it's time to indeed put the money where the mouth is. Can Shandell potentially be in the top four? And the fact that we're talking about these names like they genuinely have a chance means that it's going to be close. This is the closest race, I think, on paper before we started that we have had so far this season. This is where it'll probably let us down now. So hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully we do have a good race.
I think we will, you know. Pedro had a lap time that was significantly faster than their rivals, let's be honest, but 2nd through 9th was separated by almost nothing. Let's see if they can translate that into a race result.
Here we go, then, ladies and gentlemen. It is the PlayStation 4 quarterfinal here of the EU regional EMEA. And as well, as we get off the line here, I think Pedro's had a poor start. And yes, Cam is up alongside him here, and almost a bit of bump draft in there, but no, he's not quite close enough. Joker was trying to make a move himself here. Oh, Joker spun. Joker's out of this race here. Big contact as well in the background. So one driver makes a mistake, and unfortunately it's going to cost. Oh, it's going to cost the Crusher Bro. It's going to cost Dive as well. Oh, that is very unfortunate. Bruce was involved. Jazzman was involved as well. And oh, there was just a big spin there from Joker as he ran wide. Again, there was no contact from what we saw, but as he comes back on circuit, oh, it's a whole hell-mighty crash there. And while Pedro's got the perfect start then, he is in the lead, but he has got Cam going with him.
Pedro hanging on by the skin of his teeth there after a slightly poor start going into T1, but holding on to their line beautifully. Cam in 2nd place and wins striking distance, 0.6 of a second back at the moment, so Pedro is going to do their best to try and gap ASAP. But lots of action in the midfield, and I think the big disaster that we need to talk about there really, unfortunately, is Joker, who is now languishing in 12th place after what was promising to be what I wanted to see, really, is just a chase. I wanted a steeplechase from Joker to get from P3 all the way to P1, or at least try and get Pedro to make a mistake. So I'm a little bit disappointed and sad that Joker's now outside the top 10, but I look forward to seeing how many places they can make up from there.
He was airborne at one point as well, which is not ideal. That's definitely not what you want to be doing. And now finds himself down in P12, which was gutting. I feel like he had a genuine opportunity here, but it was a mistake on his own. It was a driver error, that's for sure. Just on a power too early out of turn 1. And yeah, just over-rotated the car and unfortunately took a couple of cars with him as well. And well, this is perfect for Pedro, but right now Cam has to stay with him. He has to put that pressure on. Otherwise, it will be an Abraham situation. As you can see, actually P3, Tynus is finding a bit of pace here on the second half of this lap. It's definitely closed the gap then up towards P2. But as it stands then, it's a 1 second advantage already here for Pedro. And this is brilliant news for him, but not for us. We want to see some excitement here. We've got then Sylvan just in behind in P5. So let's check out then Sylvan's perspective here, as indeed Chandel runs a little bit wide. Chandel's still in P4, so lost a position then to Tynus. But unfortunately, fortunately hasn't lost too many positions off the start line here. Sylv then just needs to keep themselves involved. But already there, John, you can see that the gap is starting to eke out.
It's going to be a struggle if they need to fight for more than a lap or two, to be honest, because a 1.5 seconds is now the gap that Pedro has managed to secure over Cam in 1st position. As we are still on board with Sylv going into the Luffield complex, and at the moment this is quite an exciting bit of racing, but I'm also conscious that never mind, forget exciting bit of racing. Sylv is off the track, manages to avoid getting any damage done to the car, but that's going to be 5, 7, maybe even 8 seconds off where they were before, which is a real shame because we were managing to get into a position where 3 cars were more or less nose to tail racing, and Sylv now has all the work to do all over again.
Yeah, good news for Chandel. So they haven't got any pressure from behind now. So maybe look to take full advantage of that and push towards Tynus. We're on board with Bruce. You can see on the front of his car there's some damage. He caught the most of that, I would imagine, from Joker, because Joker just drove straight across his bonnet, unfortunately. But again, Joker was a passenger. These things happen in motorsports. These things happen in sim racing. That is just a fact. But here we go. The front 4 as they stand. It's another 0.6 of a second by Pedro, taken out then of Cam. And well, we will start to see the lap times come in now. And again, we didn't really see too many 59s in the race on Xbox. Are we going to see our first 59 from Pedro? It looks like he's absolutely flying here. One of the legs then, Jockey, up into P5, has got a penalty, unfortunately. A 1 second penalty. Let's go back then on board with our battle for P3. And across the line to go, 59.4 then to Pedro. That would have been good enough for pole position in qualifying, John. He is on a different level.
I think rather than saying that Pedro is about to engineer an Abraham situation, I feel like Abraham engineered a Pedro situation, because this is phenomenal, the gap between Pedro and the rest of the field. Only now just opening up that gap to 2 seconds, but what's really important here is the gap in the lap times. Cam is 0.8 of a second down lap on lap in a position where they have to be reeling Pedro in. So the pressure is immense on Cam right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of the drivers in 2nd through 4th potentially make a mistake very soon once they realize the delta they have to make up. This is phenomenal stuff from Pedro.
Yeah, it is a time now where everyone has to start pushing. Like, Pedro just doesn't look like he has any chinks in his armor right now. Qualifying was good. In the race, he looks really, really good. And, you know, ultimately, whether he's indeed got that history, he's got a great history in sim racing. So he's got some superb talent. But, you know, just having someone go side by side with you, just ask some questions. There's none being asked. That's the only trouble right now. And I don't know whether, indeed, the drivers in behind have the capabilities of doing so. Not to say that they're slow. Like, they are some of the quickest drivers in the world. That's a fact. Pedro Marquez is just found the ultimate form, you know, form of his life, I would say, at this point. This is just a phenomenal performance. If he continues to go into the 59s, even with the temperatures of the tyres indeed going up, you know, this is a fantastic performance. And actually, it does indeed lay down the marker for everybody else. Like, the PC drivers are going to be watching this thinking, oh, hello, we've got a real contender here from the consoles. Whereas in previous years, you may not have been too worried about console. But this year, there's definitely, especially with Abraham as well, there are genuine 2 contenders for the crown.
No, you're completely right, Luke. It doesn't really matter almost where someone qualified from, because both of the consoles, frankly, are genuine threats to the PC drivers, which is great to see, because at the point where we get to the regional finals, of course, it means everyone is a threat. There is no one you can dismiss, and you have to be on your toes regardless of who is behind you. So we're looking forward to seeing what ends up happening there. But in the meantime, it looks like that is Brasco, unfortunately, going into the pits, and that is going to be their race over. Pedro still in front on lap 4, halfway through lap 4 now, with a 2.5 second lead. So that lead, not completely comfortable just yet, but I have to say it's doing very, very well.
Yeah, stop go, a drive-through penalty there. Looks like that would have been because of, yeah, well, it definitely isn't because of any time penalties, because once they hit 10 seconds, it would have been indeed a drive-through, but that would have been because of a jump start, unfortunately, or it could have been because he made an overtake on a driver illegally. So if he went off circuit to make an overtake, that would have been a drive-through as well. So there's 2 reasons that could have been the case. But we're looking at the Lig drivers. Dumol then in behind Jockey. So those 2 battling for, well, they're not battling for position anymore, actually, because Jockey is now in behind Silv. Silv then just dropped off the pace of the main pack here. If you like, you can see then Shandell not really close enough to really put any pressure on in front then of Tinnis. We've then got Cam Diz again, who's in 2nd position. And don't get me wrong, he's doing 2:08, which are flying lap times. Like, that is so hard to consistently indeed lay down at a track like Silverstone. It just isn't nowhere near in the realm of Pedro Marquez right now. Pedro Marquez, again, another 59.9 on the previous lap here. I'd be very surprised if, you know, he might be just about a 2:01 at this stage of the race again. They will start to lose a little bit of time as the race goes on. But again, Pedro's just been just superb. Can Shandell find a bit of time here? And actually, it's like Cam's made a bit of a mistake here, which has given Tinnis the opportunity to close up. And now you're battling for pride and also maybe warming up for a potential wildcard spot, John.
Shandell locking up just a little bit going into club and missing the apex by about a car's width, but is otherwise okay now and back on it. It doesn't look like it's cost them too much time. And yes, I think a wildcard spot has to be what some of these drivers are thinking right now, which sounds horrible to say in the first half of a race, but Pedro really has been imperious. Another 1:59.9 on the last lap means that he's the only driver who's consistently dipped below 2 minutes. I don't actually think another driver has dipped below 2 minutes at all. And that's important because it's the consistency from Pedro. It wasn't a flash in the pan, that 1:59. It was the pace that Pedro can do lap after lap after lap. And the gap to the leader is showing exactly that. Over 3 seconds now from Cam. And he's just going to be looking to sit at a comfortable pace and try his best to cruise out the second half of the race while hoping to turn that gap into something like a 5-6 second comfortable lead.
Yeah, it's, again, a superb performance. But now it's all about, again, managing this race. But also, this is a genuine opportunity with the pace that they've got. to showcase to everybody else that they mean business for the entire competition. You can look beyond this race here, keep continually putting those 59s down, and everyone's going to be looking and thinking, yep, this is a genuine contender going into the regional finals. And also, you know, when they line up against him on the track, that can have a mental effect on drivers as well. You know, knowing what someone's capable of over the course of 10 laps, you know, consistently in the 59s, under that 2-minute mark around Silverstone, you know, you're going to be intimidated by that. I certainly would be.
I think that's you're really just trying to break someone's spirit at this point. It goes beyond intimidating. Intimidating is, ooh, that's tough, but I might be able to defeat it. And the kind of times that we're seeing right now, in my opinion, Luke, it's beyond intimidating. It's looking at that going, well, I hope I get a podium.
Yeah, absolutely. It is what it is. Yeah, it's just very unfortunate for Cam and Tinnis right now that they've come up against Pedro in the form that he's in. That's just like, this is ridiculous pace. He's just dipped outside the 159s now, and I'm just surprised it's not happened sooner. If I'm completely honest. Again, we're on board with Tinnis. But let's go and look at the drivers then at the lower end of the order right now. Dive Mask, he's had to pit as well, so unfortunate for him. Joker's pit, and do you know what? This shows like the class of someone like Joker. He's made a big error, but he's going to finish out this race. You'll see a lot of drivers will tend to just quit out of a lobby in sim racing because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean anything. It's not a case of like you're going to be in front of the fans in your car being towed away. In sim racing, it's very easy to just go, yeah, I quit, I'm done. But fair play, he's sticking around. Jazzman the same. They see Jazzman's got some serious damage and actually makes up a position. So we had a mistake there from Loctite, and Jazzman up into the top 10. So good performance there after obviously being involved in the early stages of this race with the issues that were happening with Joker. But Tinnis, I tell you what, as much as it looks like Pedro is in a good spot to win here, we still got a battle on for a potential P2. So Tinnis now 7 tenths behind, and maybe Cam's starting to struggle with the temperatures of his tyres.
I think Joker in particular is a fantastic point you make. At the end of the day, getting good experience in sim racing or otherwise is about what you do when the chips are down as well as when you're winning. And Joker is currently the second fastest person on track, by the way. We've got Pedro on a 2-minute 0.1 and Joker's on a 2-minute 0.2 the last time around. It has slipped back to a 2-minute 0.6 now, but very, very much on the pace for a potential P2 if Joker was still there. So it's a pity that we were robbed of that opportunity, but that said, this battle for P2 is going to be quite interesting indeed. Tinnis is trying his best to close up the gap on Cam. They're managing to keep it to within a second, but they're going to have to try and get in the slipstream and start generating those overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, they will. Again, it's around about 8 tenths now, so Cam has acknowledged the fact that he was being caught, and, well, again, Tinnis half a second quicker, so he is closing that gap overall. Shandell will look for that opportunity as well, though, with a penalty, 1 second. Looks like Jockey's just made a move here on Silv. Yes, Silv's made a mistake somewhere. He's now outside the top 5, unfortunately. Then we've got Dumol, who's in P7. Bruce, AFC, by the way, still battling his way here in behind Dumol. So let's go and check it out from Bruce's perspective for a little bit. Again, you know, there are more people in this race, and you know, this could be the first opportunity that a lot of these drivers have ever had at this level of sim racing. So it's good. They can find, you know, their limits. They can find out what they can improve on in the future, and also they can also learn how to deal with nerves. So John, obviously, us as commentators, we have to deal with nerves as well. I don't know what your gaming background is or whether you've competed or whatnot, but I used to suffer terribly with nerves when I used to compete in sim racing. I used to have it really badly for commentary as well. But, you know, these drivers being in these experiences, doing it more and more often, they will indeed learn to combat that, right?
Absolutely. This is one of those things that genuinely comes with experience. You do have the lucky few who don't appear to suffer nerves the very first time they step out onto a stage or stuff like that. I used to compete in several different esports back in the day, and I'm a sim racing enthusiast, but I wouldn't say I competed at a level where there was any sort of prize money on offer, unfortunately, but I'd still be very, very happy to step into the cockpit these days. And it is all about stepping onto the big stage when you realize something big is on the line. It doesn't matter how cool, how calm you are in even something like the regional qualifiers, or because when you step out on stage and you know that there are 10,000 pairs of eyes watching you, even if you're the coolest cucumber on the grid, something clicks and you go, hang on a second, I really need to perform here, and everybody performs a little bit differently. It's a tough feeling to get used to, but it's wonderful as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you can't buy those feelings. It's just one of those things. Like Adrenaline is a strange old mistress, as I keep saying about certain things. But yeah, so it's so hard to come by, and it's a reason why you do things like this, racing side by side, putting yourself in the spotlight. Of course, the reason why people get so nervous is because everyone's, pretty much everybody is scared of failure. They don't want to look silly. That's a fact. I always found when I was in this situation, what really affected me the most was my braking. So I've always felt like my left foot was shaking on braking, and that's where I would make mistakes. The accelerator pedal's fine. You just plan that down. You're all good. And for the most part, when you're placing down the accelerator pedal, you're going in a straight line. But when you go on the brakes and through corners, that's where I've really found the nerves kicked in. So yeah, this is an opportunity again for the drivers that have been involved in a big incident to learn about themselves more, and it's really good to see here Bruce is genuinely catching up here to the driver in front of Dumol, even with some damage to the car. But let's go a bit further up the order then, and again it's still pretty close for that P2, and ultimately we were talking about pressure. Pedro could still make a mistake here, and one of these two drivers could be the one that profits from that. So being in P2 is huge at this point of the race.
Being in P2, like being first in line to capitalize on any mistake, is always the favored position if you're not actually out in front leading, so completely fair play. Although I have to say that Cam might be kicking himself slightly, because I feel like Pedro might have made a mistake off the line, and that really was the prime opportunity to try and grab at that position into turn 1. Failing that though, a 6-second gap is big. Even running wide or something, Pedro still should be able to maintain the lead, but it is not out of the question that a spin, for example, or worse, ends up putting Cam into first place. So a lot of focus right now going on maintaining those lap times, making sure that you stay within touching distance so that you can capitalize if a mistake occurs. And believe me, mistakes occur in P1. You see them in motorsport all the time. It's also conveniently the biggest spotlight. So when you do make a mistake, everybody knows about it.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more there. Silv back to closing up then to Jockey. Not that close though. Bruce, again, is just in behind Dumol. And who's there? Is that Dybul? Yes, Dybul showing some serious pace here. Quicker than both of them in front. Well, not on the previous lap, but I think will be now because it's closed right up to the back here. Across the line we go. And what sort of time? Yeah, so 2:03.1. So he's lapping the same lap times as the drivers in front, but a lap down. But again, doesn't really want to be getting too involved with these drivers here. Doesn't want to be costing them any time as they come around the first sector here. And actually makes a bit of a mistake there in the dirty air of Bruce in front. And Bruce then will want to try and get ahead here. Doesn't want to be getting involved in the back marker, although the back marker looks a bit quicker. And well, here we go. Very good exit then onto the Wellington straight. And just maximises the speed. Got to get to the slipstream. He's going to lose momentum then as he's got damage to the car. He needs to stay behind and in towards the braking zone here. You see he's just using as much curb as he possibly can to open up the corner. Indeed, that's again going to help your speed on the exit of the corner. But good job there by Dumol. Dumol's going to hold on as it stands. And it's nice to see that there's still battles happening along the circuit here. Again, it's around about 8/10 between P2 and P3. And Bruce just dropped off there, but what a weird situation to be in. You're battling with a driver in front for what would be P7, but then you've got a car that's a full lap behind you that's probably faster than you both. That's, again, a very strange one. What would you be thinking right now, John?
Oh, I'd be thinking if I was the car in front, can I actually get away from blue flag range? But never mind, Bruce has a big old slide. And unfortunately, oh, sorry, no, that's Lig in front with a big slide, and Bruce manages to just about hold on there. That's a change of position. And the reason why I'm confused there is because we've now got a Lig in front and behind, but that was a little bit of sideways contact. I don't think any of it was intentional there.
No, it was definitely Bruce out the slide initially. You're right there. But it was Dybe Mask, who's the back marker. So he was involved there as well. So that's what the crazy thing about it was. But there's still a Lig in behind and a Lig in front. So hopefully that's cleared it up for everybody. Again, if you are going to race in a sim racing race, guys, please use your abbreviation of your name, not your team, because it makes it so much easier for everybody concerned. And also, like when you're watching back the broadcast, you'll be, or your fans, it'll be easy for them to see who indeed is in the team and what positions they're in and stuff. Anyway, back up to the battle for P2 here. 1 minute 13 seconds remaining. We saw that they weren't able to get an extra lap in on Xbox. Will this be the same here for Pedro? Pedro, again, has been lapping very similar lap times here as he comes across the old start-finish line. We've got around about 1 minute to go, so I feel like this might be the last lap of the race here, John. Again, it's half a second between these two. Let's check it out from Cotcam then of Tinnis in the house. And well, can he potentially get up into P2 then as they come up towards Cop's corner? And well, it's a bit of a mistake there actually by Cam. Runs a little bit wide. Do not want to be going to that curb. We've already seen that from Bruce. Bruce there would have definitely left a brown mark in his seat for sure. Then we come in towards Maggotts and Beckett's here, and actually you can see that Tillis just didn't set himself up well there at all, and he lost a load of time here. But actually, the second phase has been a lot better than Cam in front. So both of them making a mistake at separate positions then through Maggotts and Beckett's. We've got 19 seconds to go, and I think you'll find that Pedro, as he comes around the final couple of corners here, it is looking very, very good for him indeed. And actually, he's got a buffer enough here to slow down to make sure that it is indeed the last lap of the race then. So Pedro Marquez, 27. I came into this thinking that Joker might be the favourite to win this. Pedro, in qualifying, was just incredible. And well, during the race, he's done exactly the same here. Not looked under any pressure whatsoever. And he will be our next driver through to the EMEA Regional Finals. In second position, it will just be Cam Diz, and actually in the pressure, trying to put the pressure on Tillis, has got a penalty there at the death. Wondering what sort of time. There's only a 1 second penalty there, but these two had a fair old ding dong. And well, there you go, John. Again, it was very similar to the Xbox race. Hopefully the PC race is absolutely incredible to make up for it, but again, you can't take it away from them. Abraham and now Pedro both advance to the next stage.
Fantastic racing up and down the field, but Pedro effectively didn't have to do any racing there because of how brilliant their form was off of pole position. So they're going to be able to take home that race. I don't really think there was anything objectionable from the way they raced there as well. The first corner, a little bit dicey. Not the best of starts, but making up for it very well and winning the race with over 6 seconds to spare. So well done to Pedro for joining Abraham. And once again, like the Xbox race, and like we predicted, Luke, we had excellent action both up and down the field. And it's commiserations as well to Joker, who was putting in the 2-minute flat lap times all the way to the end, finishing in 12th place. But I do want to point out that I think the gap to the leader was something like 1 minute 17 at some point, and at the end of the race, it was under a minute. So Joker was properly flying to try and catch the pack in front. It was just too big of a gap with that pit stop, unfortunately.
Yeah, just a little bit too big there. But it is what it is. That is the nature of the beast. Well, let's have a look then of the final standings here, and will be Pedro Marquez that goes through. Cam Diz in second, Tinnis in the house in third, Chandel fourth. We've then got Silv in fifth position, and then we've got the Lig brothers, Jockey and Dumol, Bruce AFC in eighth. Then we've got the next Lig of Brasco, and then we've got Jazzman rounding out your top 10.
Fantastic racing there from the PlayStation race. We now have Xbox and PlayStation both complete, which means the PC race is the final one that we're going to be having this evening. You are watching the Logitech McLaren G EMEA Regional Qualifiers, and this is Silverstone. We'll be sticking with the same track for the PC race, where quite a lot of people on the grid are going to be fighting for a single spot in the regional final. We're going to a quick break now. Grab yourself a drink, maybe something to nibble on, and get ready for what promises to be, hopefully, the biggest race of the night, and we might even see some sub 1:59 lap times as well. See you guys after this break. Welcome back to the Logitech McLaren G Challenge 2020. You are watching the EMEA Regional Quarterfinals, and we are straight into qualifying for the PC race. We've already had Xbox and PlayStation complete their races, where Abraham and Pedro Marquez, respectively, are through to the regional finals. We now need to send one more driver through. And Luke, this is a very crowded field, but on top of that, we've also got some ridiculously big names and fast lap times in this lobby.
Oh man, this is a who's who of Project Cars 2 right now. I'm about to go through this list of names, and well, it is a stacked field. We've got THR Wolf, who indeed last year was the, he came second, only to Isaac Gillison in the World Final and the European Final. So he is a hugely talented driver. Nade, for me right now, pound for pound, the best driver on Project Cars 2, I would say. Just missed out last year on the Logitech G Challenge, as it was called then, because he didn't know anything about it. So he actually did indeed travel to Germany just to go and watch the European final. So yeah, excited to see him finally get his shot. And then we've got the fastest driver in Croatia, and that is Denny Heater. Next up then, we have got Pedro Marquez, who is better known as, and I cannot remember his name now, Popsu. So that's Popsu, who is indeed a World Championship finalist on Project Cars 2. We've got VP Bo, who's driving for the current world champions on Project Cars 2, Team VP. He wasn't one of the drivers, but again, just to be a part of that team, representing them on a game such as Project Cars, there's so much heritage between VP and the game. JK16 then, a driver for Team ACR. He is Nade's teammate. Again, he is one of the very quickest right now in the world, I would say, within this game. But again, he didn't manage to qualify last year because he didn't know anything about it as well. So there's something to do with being part of the southwest of England and not understanding the rules and regulations. I don't know. Then we've got VP Ace, who is another driver for the Team VP, world champion, Team VP. Then we've got a new driver who I've never heard of, Maja. But to qualify for this stage of the competition, again, you've got to have some sort of pace. Two-time world champion Camille Pavlovsky. Everyone knows him as Khaki. He raced for Team BAM in 2017 at Gamescom, where they indeed Team BAM won the SMSR Project Cars 1 World Championships, and then his team liquidated. So he didn't have a team to drive for in the second World Championships, but indeed still took part in the Challenger Cup. So that was the individual championship that was outside of the team championship, and he won it. So he was two-time Project Cars 2 on Project Cars World Champion. We then got Luke. Again, not too much information about this driver. So again, we've got some fantastic drivers, but also we've got some new names as well. Again, a big opportunity for them. Buho, again, another new driver that I don't know too much about. As Turbo, not too sure about his resume. I know he's pretty quick, but not seen him in an esports final so far. We've then got Meister Jaeger, which is a fantastic name, but again, not too much information on this driver. Paluca, who indeed was in the Challenger Series for the Project Cars 2 World Championships as well, so another fantastic driver. Lithium, well, Lithium is one of the oldest elements in the... No, let's not go that route. Yeah, Lithium, I've not heard too much about him, but yeah, should be pretty fast, I would imagine. We've got Richie97, then who's another driver that's new on the radar, and then we've got TS Pod, who is also, or T-Spod, who is also a new driver on the radar. But we've got to go on board with probably the favourite going into this, THR Wolf, another Team Highlands racing driver. What an introduction that was there, John. I'm going to let you have a few words now, but wow, what a field we've got.
It really is a packed field, and to be honest, it does just take that long to get through all of these names. A lot of racing pedigree and a lot of experience here as well. THR, oh my god, Pavlovsky straight away, we're into the 158s, a 158.3. Hang on a second, that's a banker lap? We're going to see 157s.
Yeah, Camille Pavlovsky is an absolute wonder horse. I don't even know what that means, I'm that excited. What is a wonder horse? Someone tweet me.
That's a unicorn,
Tell me what a wonder
right?
horse is. Yeah, I don't know, a unicorn that, I don't know, gives you gold. Stop talking about unicorns. We've got Patrick Adamczyk, then, who's second position here. Nade up to second now, and he will indeed come straight into the pits and get a fresh set of rubber. And well, that's just shy of the quickest time of the day here from Nade in terms of everybody thus far. But Pavlovsky with a 58.3. That is absolutely ridiculous. That's 0.7 of a second quicker than what we've seen so far today. But look how many 59s there are. Pretty much half the field are into the 59s. We are in for an absolute worldie of a race here.
You weren't lying during the Xbox and PlayStation races when you said we are expecting to break the 159 barrier, and we've done it in style at the start of the PC qualifying session. Still halfway through, by the way. 4.5 minutes left in this quali session, meaning we might be able to get 2 more decent hot laps in for most of these drivers. P1 through to P8 are all under 2 minutes right now. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how much this is going to heat up. P2 and P3 also separated now by literally 1,000th of a second. It's as close to each other as you can get without it being a dead heat. This is fantastic.
That 58.3 is an unbelievable time. They're all on default setup here, ladies and gentlemen. They've all got exactly the same car with the exact same horsepower, apart from Camille Pavlovsky, who's got Wonder horsepower, obviously, as I've already mentioned. But yeah, they're all in exactly the same situation here, so no one's got a different setup to each other. But that's a phenomenal time. Under pressure here, first lap, first attempt, and that is why he is a 2-time Project Cars World Champion. Expecting big things from Nade, expecting big things from Wolf. Wolf is so far out of position right now for how much talent he's got, and he will definitely be looking to be at least on the front 2 rows. But again, it's just one of those grids where anyone from maybe 8 drivers could win this. I think anyone from that top 8 right now could win this race, if I'm completely honest. Is there anyone outside the top 8 who could maybe jump in there? I'm not too sure, but I genuinely think anyone in that top 8 could win this race at this stage. But I am expecting that 158.3. As much as it's a crazy time, John, I am genuinely expecting to see that challenge.
Oh, I really, really hope that we're going to see that time challenge, because that would turn this from great to absolutely insane. Pavlovsky with a 158.3, as don't forget a banker lap as well, really putting the hammer down and saying to everyone, hey, you want this pole position? Come get it. That was beautifully turned in and really nicely sculpted, but again, that was the banker lap. We might well see something even faster come out of them in the next couple minutes, and that could mean we dip into the 157s. Wouldn't that be a treat?
Oh, wow, yeah. I don't know whether a 157 is on the table, John. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves there, and you just pack that excitement up. Leave it at home.
Well, you know,
we are at home.
If a 58.3 is a banker, how much more time have you got in reserve? You have to ask yourself the question, right?
Sometimes you come out the pits and you just maximize everything straight off the bat. It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes the perfect lap is just there. And I feel like that's the sort of lap time that we've seen there. I just genuinely can't see a 57 happening. I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We're about to find out very, very quickly here. Nade will have one more attempt after this, but he's about to come across the line. Wolf will be behind him as well. So yeah, here we go then. The first real representative times, I would say, of the drivers behind Pavlovsky. And as Nade comes across, it's not going to be an improvement here. So big pressure then. Big pressure. And actually, sorry, it's the midway through his lap. Twice I've got this stuck. And do you know why I've got it stuck in my head? Because ACC, that I commentate on quite often, has a different start-finish line at Silverstone. It's a nightmare. Every game's got a different start-finish line.
Multiple track configurations, different start-finish lines, all sorts of configurable options on many of these racetracks, and Silverstone is certainly one of the most configurable of the lot. We're now watching down onto Hangar Straight as we... hang on, we're going to go ahead and move over to Wolf, who... We haven't really seen Wolf set a time that's absolutely burst the timing beams alight yet, and
now we have.
I'm kind of half expecting it from him. Oh, there we go, into the 58s as well. I love how I cast a curse good things. People associate cast a curse with crashing or horrible things happening. I love talking about someone and then something good happens. I'm really pleased to see that.
That's his qualifying over, though. He just made that mistake there where he run wide. That would have been an invalidation, and that is game over for him. Patrick now moves down into P4, but Wolf now up into the front row of the grid, and he's used to leading races. He did it all last year. Him and Isaac had one of the best battles in Logitech G Challenge history. And well, are we going to see this between Wolf now and Camille Pavlovsky? Again, Camille Pavlovsky was actually in the world's fastest gamer as well this year. He's just missed out on racing in a Lamborghini for real. And do you know how he lost out? By a disconnect. Like, the worst thing that could possibly happen is the sim racing equivalent of your engine blowing up. But by a disconnect, he lost out on racing in a real Lamborghini in October. So he'll be looking to right those wrongs. And it's within a couple of days of that happening. So today is an opportunity of redemption for him, albeit in a different competition. Let's check out Nade then. Where is Nade? He's in behind, is he now? Yeah, so he's in behind. So he's just, on to the middle part of his final flying attempt here. So it will be indeed Patrick then. Popsu through Maggots and Beckett's there. Loses the rear ever so slightly onto the back of the hangar straight up towards Stowe. Oh, I'm nervous for these drivers. I really am right now. This is going to be a sensational show. I'm so glad you're all here watching with us. I really am, because this is the epitome of esports right now we're watching in terms of Project Cars 2 at this stage. You know, these are the very best in the world. We come up then towards then the final few corners here, and he will be coming across the line ahead then of Nade. Where's Bo? Bo's in behind. Bo's done. So Bo is done. So let's check it back out with Patrick Adamczyk. Across the line, and he will go. Will he? Oh, hold on. What's happened here? So we had, well, Pavlovsky's improved on his time. That's what's happened here. He's gone even faster here. So he's put at 158.3. And the only driver that can stop him now is Nade. He's currently P3 around the final corner here. And will he get pole position? Will he get on the front row of the grid? No, he won't. He won't. He just about improves on his time. And it's only going to be third position. Camille Pavlovsky, two-time Project Cars 2 and Project Cars 1 world champion, is our pole position sitter.
Fantastic stuff. 3 cars into the 158 at the end of that qualification session. Camille Pavlovsky will take pole position with a stunning 158.3. However, THR Wolf, last year's runner-up in this competition, will be alongside him in second place. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that drag race down to T1. Nade and Patrick Adamczyk are going to be right behind them. So we've got the 2 Polish drivers as the bread and the sandwich, and the 2 Brits are going to be in the middle. Paluca and JK16 will form the third row of the grid, and behind them we've got Bo and Denny Heater. And finally, in 9th and 10th, to round out the top 10, we have Az Turbo and Ace. This is fantastic, and every single one of those drivers is within a 2-minute lap time. But all eyes now are on the race to see if Camille Pavlovsky can actually translate this into a race victory and a ticket to the EMEA Regional Finals.
Take your heart monitors off, ladies and gentlemen, because it's about to go through the roof. That's the last thing you want to be doing. You don't want to be breaking those little machines, because this is about to get very, very exciting indeed. Camille Pavlovsky then, again, a 2-time world champion within the Project Cars franchise. Again, this is the first time he's ever really competed within the Logitech McLaren G Challenge. So on his first attempt, going to get to the regional finals. I'm not going to put it past him. Wolf, though, will start on the inside here in P2. THR Wolf, of course, second in the World Final and the European Final last year, only coming second to, of course, Isaac Gillison, our champion. And while they're all very quickly readying up here, they're excited. We've got 3 red lights. We're about to go green here, and it's the final race of the EMEA region quarterfinals, and it is Pavlovsky then who gets away well here, and Wolf is just going to go straight up and behind him. Front 3 are going to get through nicely, and Nade is just in behind them as well. They've got then Popsu or Adamczyk then, who's just going to lose a little bit of time here actually, and you see Wolf then trying to make a move up the inside. Contact between the 2 leaders here, and Nade's going to be given a gimme. No, he's not. It's Popsu that's going to take the lead 3 wide as they come through turn number 3. So Wolf then is T-boned Camille Pavlovsky, and all of a sudden Camille is going to be back up to P2 here. Nade's going to get squeezed out wide. Oh no, big contact between the 2. Oh, and that's their race over as well. He comes across the track. He's going to miss everybody here, but it is now fair play to him though. Patrick Adamczyk who takes the lead. What a race of incidents we've had here at the start, and it is the Polish duo leading the way then. Adamczyk and Pavlovsky are P1 and P2, and well, that big effect there caused there by Wolf making a dive up the inside into turn 2. He knew he had to get the move done as quickly as possible, and unfortunately it's cost him now down to P5. Bo in second, JK16 is in 4th. I told you it was going to be frantic, John. I didn't think it was going to be quite this frantic.
I really didn't expect it to be quite this level of intense. By the time we had come out of turn 3, so many cars had made contact or gone off the track. It's absolutely insane. Adamczyk and Pavlovsky, now the 2 cars that are leading the pack 1 and 2. But despite that dive earlier, Wolf in 5th place is just sort of chilling out, holding on to this trail of cars, looking for the next opportunity. Wolf is not done yet. And whoever wins this race, we also have to ask ourselves, is there going to be a steward's inquiry? Do we know if any of these front runners, Luke, do we think any of them might be in line to potentially get a penalty or reprimand based on what's happened so far on the first lap? Because that was a lot of action and a lot of different things that we had to look at and consider. And we might not have even seen it all on camera.
Bo's just had a spin here. JK's got the position then on Wolf. Wolf slid in there and actually took P3 momentarily, but there was contact between him and Bo. I think the only people who are going to be really investigated here would be Wolf. Wolf actually looking for a move here to start lap number 2, and he's actually comprehensively going to get that done. He will be for the dive up in towards turn 3, and I think maybe Bo with the contact with Nade. Nade indeed falling off the track, but I don't think there was too much in that. I just think it was the way the cars indeed, they were 3 wide, and unfortunately they both went off circuit. So it is one of those things. The nature of sim racing, ultimately, these things do genuinely happen. Bo now down into P16, Nade down into P15. 2 of the favourites here are nowhere to be seen, but Wolf been involved in a lot of incident, but I tell you what, he's still involved here, and he will look to now go and chase down the front 2. But it is the Polish duo then, and we thought it might be Pavlovsky that would lead this out because of his sensational qualifying exploits, but it's not. It's Popsu. It is Adamczyk right now that leads the way, and the front 2 separated by 0.3 of a second.
Well, this is what I've actually wanted in the races so far today, because the person in second place out-qualified the person who's leading the race by several tenths of a second, which means we're going to get a very, very exciting tussle for the race win here. And don't forget, only one of Adamczyk and Pavlovsky are going to be able to go through automatically into the regional final as the winner of this race. So this is fantastic. I don't think we're going to see Adamczyk necessarily pull out a big gap, and as a result, I feel like the next couple of laps are going to be electrifying. And if they fight with each other to a point where they're taking defensive lines and really just trying to prevent each other from overtaking, we could actually see Wolf come back into it as well, because he's up into 3rd place, only 1.5 seconds behind 2nd.
He's already closing. Yeah, he's 0.5 second gain on this lap time here, and yeah, we're going to see a very, very quick lap time here from Wolf. And again, whoa, big mistake there by Adamczyk. Here, side-by-side action then between him and Pavlovsky. Pavlovsky just needs to keep his nose in check here. He's not going to get squeezed, or he does get squeezed ever so slightly then, as they come across the line up towards turn number 1. You can see now the gap's only 1.6 seconds, so this is not what they want here. And actually, what they really need to do here is work together over the next sort of 5 minutes and make sure it's a 2-horse race at the end of this race. They do not want to have it 3 or 4. Both sliding then through turn number 3, up towards 4 here, and Pavlovsky trying to find every inch of track to use here to make a move. Actually makes a mistake there on the curb, and now look at that. It is the predatory Wolf. We saw this all last year. He's now back in contention. 1.2 seconds then the advantage over him, but he is now in that slipstream.
Side-by-side action now as you come into one of the more technical parts of the circuit. A little bit difficult to go around the outside or similar here, but you can slingshot yourself onto the next straight. Pavlovsky looking for another opening, 2 tenths behind, more or less nose to tail, with Wolf now a further second behind, and this is looking to become a 3-horse race very, very quickly indeed. I say 3-horse race, don't forget, the 2 cars behind Wolf, they're only a second each beyond each other, so it's entirely possible that these guys all bunch up if we get into a big tussle here. But as things currently stand, Adamczyk's still just about hanging on to the lead of this race, but I've got a feeling we're going to see racing action all the way to the checkered flag.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to become, I think, a 5-way battle here. Unless Wolf can make easy work of Pavlovsky and then make easy work of Adamczyk, I think this is going to become very, very clustered at the front here. Adamczyk, again, not looking like the favourite going into this in terms of qualifying. You cannot write someone off like Popsu. Popsu is, of course, been in World Championships. He was in the very same Challenger Series as Camille Pavlovsky, which Pavlovsky won. He's also was a major part of all of the ESL competitions that I was talking about earlier on, as well during this broadcast with Joker. Joker, of course, winning loads of those. So he's always been around, but he's never really been the top dog. He's got that opportunity today, and he has taken it with both hands. As you can see then, Wolf has closed in to the back here of Pavlovsky. Pavlovsky's lost a little bit of time to Adamczyk in the lead of this race, but now they're both indeed closing back up to the leader. And, well, you can see that JK and Denihita not quite really got the pace to... Oh, big off there. Big mistake, actually, by Adamczyk. Loses so much time, and they really have closed in now. Needs to get this in check here. Does not want to be, indeed, giving these 2 drivers in behind an opportunity. He's held on for quite some time now, 7 minutes, but the pressure is really going to boil up now. But again, actually now JK60 and Denihita are closing up. So if they can start battling maybe for 1.5, maybe 2 laps in the front here, that's where we're going to start to see it become maybe a potential 5-way battle for the lead. I think anyone outside of the top 5 may be out of it right now, just due to the sheer class of the drivers at the front here, but we are in for a little bit of fireworks, John.
If anybody's wondering what the pedigree of the drivers are, but also how difficult it must be to not make a mistake despite having this fantastic level of experience, watch this race, because Adamczyk is making mistakes, but tiny ones, microscopic ones, not quite enough for Pavlovsky to get through, but Pavlovsky is simply biding his time at this point, looking for an opportunity to lunge, and then of course he has to be looking in his rearview mirror to deal with Wolff as well, who has been in his fair share of overtaking incidents in this race so far, but hopefully the next one is going to prove to be the most exciting. Top three drivers separated by 0.6 of a second now as we move into Stone. No one really close enough to make a big lunge or similar, but if someone messes up or we get a big slide here, we could see a move coming into Club. Wolff now taking a very, very tight line into the middle of that corner, getting a tiny slide round the outside, and on this occasion I don't think a lunge is possible, but he is very, very much now in the fight with these two cars in front.
There's no such thing as being too far back for Wolff. He's got unbelievable braking ability. So right now he's close enough to make a lunge at the end of the straight, that's for sure. It's just about how calculated he's going to be in doing it, because he knows now if he takes too much time overtaking Pavlovsky, he loses the opportunity of Adamczyk. So what he might do here is he might just bide his time, lean on his experience, let these two battle for the lead, and then he takes full advantage. So that's probably what the plan is going to be. And even with these three battling for position, oh, there we go, there's contact, and well, he has waited, he's gone up the inside, late lunge then, and well, will Camille Pavlovsky be able to get on the power early enough? I don't think he will, he's actually dropped in behind. So no, he's still side by side here. So Wolff then has finally taken P2, but again, it's lost them loads and loads of time. Again, these battling for positions so frantically, and you see a late move up the inside there by Camille has lost him so much time. And as we head then towards the second half of this race, it is now still a 3-horse battle, but Adamczyk's now got a different foe to deal with, and that will be THR Wolff. We've got JK16 then in 4th position, Denny Heater's in 5th, as Turbo's actually closed up to 6th then. We go a bit further back here, and we've got Buo battling then with Luke, and indeed VP Ace. So Ace battling with Luke. This looks fantastic stuff as well. But again, like, as much as this is as close here, we've got to stay with the leaders. We have to stay with these three. Because this is what it's about. It's winner takes all, John. Winner takes all.
THR Wolff now getting within 0.2 and really looking to try and close down and take the race lead. This race pace from Wolff has actually been ferocious. There can be no denying how hungry Wolff is to win this race, especially after the first lap shenanigans where he's had to battle back from outside this group of cars, get on their tail, and make a lunge as well. Here we go. That's lunge number 1 of several, I suspect, and really trying to get Adamczyk to commit to making a mistake, maybe taking a little bit too much of a wide line or missing an apex, and that is when Wolff will get this move complete. Adamczyk now must be sweating.
Yeah, so that wasn't genuinely a move there by Wolff. That was, I'm coming up the inside, but I've got enough within my braking pressure here to indeed get the car stopped. But if you look in your rearview mirror, you're going to be panicking and you might make a mistake, and then it will become an overtake kind of move. Again, a little bit long-winded, but yeah, that's exactly what that was there, and we saw it so many times last season. Adamczyk, though, has made another mistake there, a little bit of an error. Again, leaves that door open, and that's not what you want to be doing right now. Do not leave that door open. Oh, big mistake by Wolff, actually. Onto the curb here now. Pavlovsky is right up his rear. So let's check it out from Pavlovsky's cock cam here. And well, you can see right underneath that rear wing, and now he can move over here and potentially get Adamczyk's slipstream. He's going to have to go on the brakes very, very late round the outside, but if he can keep his nose there, well, he's gone really early, actually, and he's going to try and get the better exit. He has closed back in there, but Wolff's managed this perfectly. Again, Adamczyk looking in his rearview mirror, thinking that all of his birthdays and Christmases are coming at once right now, because while these two battle, they cannot close the gap on him.
So tense coming onto that straight, but Wolff defending well, choosing the correct line and just biding his time to make sure that nobody can capitalize on his mistake. The front three still separated by less than a second, and Adamczyk at the moment is, well, I think this is the first time in a while he's at a half a second gap, but as we all know, Wolff can close that down very, very quickly indeed. So recovering from that mistake well, and that's also another sign of a fantastic race driver with good racing pedigree. It's not just what you do when you have a start that's beautiful, you have a completely clean race, you make no errors. What do you do when you make a mistake? How do you recover from that? And Wolff at the moment is showing us a little bit of a masterclass in all areas of racecraft.
And that's why he was our second or vice champion last year. That's why he managed to get to Germany for the regional finals. That's why he managed to get to Vegas for the world finals. The guy has got an abundance of talent. He's an incredible driver. Right now, he is surrounded by two drivers of his equal. Two drivers that weren't in the G Challenge last year. So it's great to see that even the strongest of regions, being the EU region, I would say, on paper, is getting even stronger. The same as the North America, the same as the Asia Pacific region. And I'm sure we're going to see it next week with the Latin America region as well. Like, every single region is getting stronger and stronger. Each year they get given an opportunity. Late lunge up the inside then by Wolf. And wow, now Adamczyk, well, actually, to be fair, now Wolf making that move 3 wide up towards turn 4. And I'll tell you what, Camille Pavlovsky is going to go from 3rd to 1st. What a move that is! Took full advantage there of Wolf making a mistake. Wolf tried to make the move, they were too close, which indeed has given Camille Pavlovsky the opportunity. As they come down then, the Wellington straight, contact between the two. Wolf trying to find a gap up the inside, and now Adamczyk's going to go round the outside. Wolf finds the inside line, it's 3 wide again, and Karki's off the circuit here. Contact between the two of them once again, and they are fighting tooth and nail right now. So all of a sudden the Adamczyk's, oh, contact between them both, they're both going to go round. Oh, Karki's off the circuit, he spun the car. Wolf's now going to lose the position to Adamczyk, and now JK16 with an opportunity. Denihita has closed in. What more can this race give us?
That was absolutely astounding, but also at the same time a fair bit of contact, and I can't help but feel that nudge on the rear right that Wolf gave Pavlovsky at the end that caused him to spin out might have been a little bit unnecessary, Luke. I don't know how you would feel, because frankly, there's about 6 different bits of contact we're going to have to analyze there, but that bit right at the end, I was really looking forward to seeing more wheel-to-wheel action, and I'm a little bit sad that Pavlovsky now is no longer part of this leading group.
Yeah, decision-making, when it comes down to the crunch, decision-making is absolutely huge here. Late move up the inside there by Wolf, and that is an attempt to take to lead of this race. And again, Adamczyk just about holds firm here with 6 minutes to go. You can see that Wolf wants this position here. And again, it was 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. You could probably say there was it was 48 of one and 24 of the other. It was ridiculous between the two, actually. And I'd be very surprised if both of them don't get a reprimand for that in terms of a penalty, because racing is a non-contact sport, and that was, quite frankly, ridiculous there, and they're both as bad as each other. But we move on here. Again, you don't have to worry about any reprimands right now. You just got to try and finish in the best position possible. And right now, Adamczyk went from P1 down to P3, and then went back up from P3 to P1 just as quick.
It really is a roller coaster for these guys at the front. The constant factor appears to have been Wolf, who seems to be responsible for instigating pretty much every move on track right now, but Adamczyk has managed to keep his nerve. Yes, there have been a few small mistakes here and there, but at the end of the day, after going down to 3rd and back again, he is the player that everyone is going to have their eyes on. Wolf, again, having a little bit of a look down the inside, but Adamczyk should be able to hold him off, moving on to the back straight. And if Wolf is able to dive down the inside, yeah, I'd be very surprised, because this next corner is very quick indeed. But knowing Wolf, there's another opportunity further down the lap.
Yeah, there's just no off button for Wolf. If there's an opportunity, he will sniff it out. Just the nature of his driving there. Very aggressive driver, very, very quick driver. Again, the plaudits speak for themselves here. Again, another representative of Team Highlands Racing. But Adamczyk here, he hasn't been involved in any of the scraps, really. No real contact caused by him. So he knows he's got a clean slate when it comes to the end of this race, after this race, if there's any stewards' inquiries. But again, if he finishes in the lead of this race, he will know he's guaranteed to go through, because he's not been involved in any of those. So he just needs to hold on at this point, but it is 0.2 of a second. We have seen time and time again that indeed Wolf will go late on the brakes up the inside towards Stowe Corner, but will Adamczyk be able to hold on? Well, he's gone very late here again. And again, it just seems like it's his natural line at this point. He's just trying to force Adamczyk to make a mistake, but Adamczyk now's read the situation. And actually, if anything, he's gained a bit of time there. As we come up towards the final couple of corners, we've got 2 laps remaining in my books right now. And, well, these two are absolutely flying right now. Poor Pavlovsky now back down to P10. Nade, who was actually in 16th position on lap 1's up to P9. JK16, is there an opportunity for him here? He'll be hoping that if there's an overtake being made at the front here, they have contact again, and he could take full advantage, just like Adamczyk did previously. So this race is not over, John. Plenty of time, 1.5 laps to go, and it still could be anybody's.
We were talking about the possibility of people hoping. Oh, that's a big dive up the inside from Wolf, trying to, in fact, sending, it looks like he sent a Adamczyk over there into a half spin, and that's Wolf taking the lead of the race. It was hard from my angle to tell whether there was contact there or not, but JK16 is now coming through with him. So for the second or possibly the third time this race, Adamczyk's down from first to third.
Yeah, he is down from first to third, and it just sounds like you're going through puberty again there, John, with your high-pitched voice. Love to hear it. But Wolf then still leadways back into the lead of this race now. But JK16, he's in a very good position here, because he would have seen that contact between Wolf and Adamczyk, and that, again, with the steward system, that could be penalised. So he's in the prime position to take full advantage right now. And to me, it's just a far too late dive. Adamczyk maybe could have left a little bit more room on the inside as well. But again, that will be looked at afterwards. But as it stands right now then, for the first time of this race, with 18 minutes elapsed in this race, finally we've got a 1 second advantage for a leader, which is pretty much going to guarantee the race victory at this point. JK16, will he be able to close in that gap? I don't know. It's going to be very, very tight. And Adamczyk wants to get back up to second spot. So again, provisionally, Wolf's going to go through here if he wins this race, but this battle for second position might be vital.
I think it's going to prove to be honest, because Adamczyk right now, he wants to be in second position so that if Wolf gets reprimanded or time gets added onto his race for any reason, Adamczyk will be the driver who goes through. It's very difficult to tell whether that's going to happen or not, but let's be honest, Wolf has been involved in a lot of incidents in this race, so there is the possibility that a reprimand sends him out of the race lead. We don't know this, and we won't know until after the race, but so far, it's served off its fair share of fireworks, and the goal now has to be to get that second position back so that if anything does happen to Wolf, he will be instated as the race winner.
Yeah, so regardless of whether he's been involved in any incidents or not, all he has to do is just drive as fast as he can. Like, what's happened, you can't change it, so he just needs to go out, win this race, and then just see what happens, you know, provisionally be the winner of the quarterfinals. Again, only one position available in such a highly contested field. People are going to take chances. That's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But Adamczyk right now is going to be gutted because he's led the most part of this race. Between him and Camille, they've led the most part of this race and now finds himself down in P3. JK16 has done nothing wrong here and taken advantage. Of course, you know, if you get presented an opportunity, you put both hands out, you grab it, you take it on board. But yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen after this. But we're going to call it as it is. And as it stands right now, Wolf, who leads this race, last year's vice champion of the European finals and vice champion of the world final in Las Vegas of the Logitech McLaren G Challenge, is currently booking his place into another regional final. JK16 in his first opportunity finds himself in P2. We've had trials, we've had tribulations, we've had incidents, we've had all sorts in this race here. And I'll tell you what, if you're at home right now, you've certainly been entertained. That is a fact. Adamczyk, though, still in P3. He's got Az Turbo in behind him, who has a penalty. We've then got Denny Heater in P5, Ace in P6, Luke in P7. Camille Pavlovsky now back up to P9, by the way. Nade's now in P10, so Pavlovsky's got ahead of Nade as it stands here. So still battles going on all around the circuit here. Buho 46, though, is up into P8. But now we've got to go on board then with Wolf, as it is indeed the final couple of corners of this race. And as it stands, ladies and gentlemen, THR Wolf is going to be another THR driver representative in the regional finals here for the EMEA region, and Wolf will win today's race. JK16 will finish in second position, and in third spot, the unluckiest man in the world right now will be Patrick Adamczyk, who deserved to win that race in my opinion, but unfortunately will finish down in third position. John, I'm going to take a breath, and I'm going to let you talk for a little bit.
Absolutely incredible race there, and so much drama as well for the stewards to look through. Wolf is provisionally through, but frankly, there are going to be a lot of incidents that people are going to be looking at throughout the course of that race to determine whether or not he goes through as the race winner. I have to say, though, once he took the race lead, he did it phenomenally well, managing to squeeze out an almost 2-second gap in the last couple of laps there. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the PC race. High drama indeed. THR Wolf provisionally winning there, and we've got JK16, who we have to say didn't really put a wheel wrong all race. We've talked about a lot of the drama, but he has actually stayed out of it all and kept a clean nose and finished a close second. In third, we've got Patrick Adamczyk and then Az Turbo and Denny Heater making up the top 5. Further down the order, we have VP's Ace, Luke, Buho 46, ACR's Nade, and Camille Pavlovsky, who was tussling for the race lead for so long, finishes in 10th. What an incredible race we had there, and what a fantastic 3 races. One thing I want to say about that final race is that we spent the Xbox and PlayStation race saying, well, hang on a second, if someone isn't in first place and they're faster, we actually have a fantastic race on our hands. They can bunch the rest of the field up, there can be incidents, there can be contact, anything can happen, and we got it all at once in the PC race. It left nothing on the table, Luke.
Yeah, ultimately we want to see clean races, but are we opposed to a little bit of action like we just saw there? Absolutely not. We're all fans of the sim racing sport. I certainly am. Again, it's not what you want to see when you set out in the race, but that was an absolute barnstormer, as I like to call that. An incredible race, loads of action, opportunities for everybody. The lead changed hands about 4 different times. Between 3 different drivers, maybe about 14 different times. We had JK16, who's just taken full advantage of everyone else's mistakes. Denny Heater was up in and amongst it as well. You got a feel for Camille Pavlovsky, who looked like he was the fastest pretty much on track. Unfortunately, there was just too much contact between him and Wolf. Those two were as bad as each other in that instance, that's for sure. Nade, one of the fastest in the world, he finishes the P10 because of an incident at the start of the race. So yeah, it was frantic, but wow, there was some action.
So I think you guys can go ahead and take a breather and maybe fan yourselves a little bit now as we calm down from all of that excitement. That was the Logitech McLaren G Challenge EU, or EMEA, I should say, quarterfinals. And provisionally, at least, we've got Abraham, Pedro Marquez, and Wolf through to the regional finals, pending the stewards' inquiries that no doubt we will have later on today. Let's go ahead and take a look as well as what you can expect next week, because this isn't the final broadcast. We've still got one more quarterfinal to go. We are going to be moving to Willow Springs next week, ladies and gentlemen, for the Latin America regional quarterfinals. Really looking forward to this, and it's a very technical, very flowing circuit, Luke. So I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a different type of racing than we saw in Silverstone today.
Yeah, Willow Springs is so little room for error. If you put one wheel into the desert, it is game over. And it does look like a gun. It's like a game of Russian roulette for sure next week. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, as all of them have been pretty exciting there. Will it live up to what we've just witnessed there? I hope so.
So we'll be back on air, ladies and gentlemen, next week. Same time, we've got the Latin American quarterfinals here at the Logitech McLaren G Challenge. On behalf of all the racers, everyone on the production team, Luke with me as well, who's been fantastic as always. I'm your host, John Sargent. Thank you very much for watching this week, and we look forward to seeing you in 7 days' time as we complete our final quarterfinal. See you guys then.